What's up, Falcons Nation? It's your boy Jew coming at you guys with another edition of What's the Word, Dirty Bird, as we do every Saturday at 5 p.m. Eastern Time. Tonight we will be going or giving my pregame thoughts for this matchup against the Arizona Cardinals this coming Sunday. And also we'll talk a little bit about Coach Arthur Smith and this Atlanta Falcons team in the direction that we're headed. And also we'll do some fan Q&A as well as we usually do. And we may drop the link and have you guys join as well. But with that being said, I'm gonna wait for you guys to jump in the chat. Um, Once you're in the chat, if you can hit that like button for your boy, hit that subscribe button for your boy, share this content out on all the social media platforms, Twitter, YouTube, any of those platforms that you're on. Definitely share out this content. But I appreciate each and every one of you guys. I hope you guys are having a great Veterans Day. Happy Veterans Day to all the veterans. I definitely appreciate you guys' service. My father served, and also both of my brothers served in the military. So shouts out to my family and to each and every one of you guys that served our country. We definitely appreciate all of the ones that have lost their lives in protecting this country and doing everything that you guys do on a day-to-day basis for all of the citizens here in the U.S. And once y'all in the chat, definitely let me know that you're in the chat. Uh, definitely say what's up and let me know if you guys can hear me loud and clear as well. But the first topic that we're going to talk about today or this evening is going to be Coach Arthur Smith and this Atlanta Falcons team in the direction that I feel like this Falcons team is headed in. As you guys know, we did fall last week to 4-5 on the season. So we're now in second place in the division. The Saints are 5-4 heading into this week's matchup, which I believe is week 10. This is our 10th game of the season. So we look to get back to 500. Next week, we have a bye week. And then after that, we have the New Orleans Saints on deck, which I believe that game is also a away game in New Orleans, which is going to be a huge NFC South matchup. We have two games in the second half of the season against the Saints. So this Falcons team still controls their own destiny as far as winning the division, as far as making the playoffs. And I really feel like this is a pivotal game for our Atlanta Falcons going up against these Arizona Cardinals tomorrow, which is the first 4 o'clock game. So it's going to be weird watching the game at, I believe it kicks off at 4:05 Eastern time. So we have the second game this coming Sunday. So that'll be interesting. But I want to jump in the chat and say what's up to you guys as well. So far, I see Dre Murphy in the chat. What's going on, man? He says, what up, everybody? I hope everyone's doing and feeling on this cold, rainy, wet Saturday afternoon. Yeah, I hope you're having a great Saturday so far, Dre Murphy. I believe you may have been the first one in the chat. So shouts out to you, man. I appreciate you joining. And I appreciate you letting me know that you can hear me loud and clear. I appreciate that as well, man. But as I mentioned, I really feel like this is a pivotal game for our Atlanta Falcons. As I mentioned, Coach Arthur Smith, I did a video, last week stating that Arthur Smith was on a hot seat. And I really feel like this is one of those games that's pivotal for this Atlanta Falcons team on how this season is going to go. You don't want to fall to 4-6 on the season. I feel like this is a must-win game for our Atlanta Falcons, even though you have games against the Saints, 2 games against them. You still have another game against the Bucks and another game against the Panthers. So you still control your own destiny as far as it goes as winning the division and making the playoffs. But this is a huge momentum game for this Atlanta Falcons team. You do want to go into the bye week on a good foot, and you want to go into the bye week 500. If you can go into the bye week at 5-5 and kind of right the ship, we need to start playing our best football the second half of this season as you head into the playoffs. And Arizona is one of those teams that's not going to just lay down. We know in the NFL, any team can beat you any given Sunday, any given Thursday night, or any given Monday night. So you have to, bring your best. You can't play down to your competition. You have to come out there and put your best foot forward. And I really feel like this Arizona team, they saw the Atlanta Falcons lose last week to the Minnesota Vikings. Their former starting quarterback who was on their team prior to being traded to the Minnesota Vikings, Josh Dobbs. They seen him go into Atlanta in hostile territory and get that win last week. So they're going to be ready to play. And I really feel like this is a big game because they also are getting back Kyler Murray, who's the leader of their team, their franchise quarterback. They're getting back James Conner, their star running back. So this is going to be a game that's not going to be an easy win. We're going into hostile territory, going up against these Arizona Cardinals. And like I mentioned, I really feel like this is a game that can swing the pendulum for this season for this Atlanta Falcons team. You fall to 4-6, having to head into New Orleans. I really feel like you go into the bye week, and you're not going to have a lot of confidence going into that bye week. And I really think at this point you'll be on, I believe, what a 3-game losing streak. So you definitely want to get this win going up against these, going up against these Arizona Cardinals. And I really feel like Coach Smith, as you guys know, and I've stated this prior to this move being made with them going to Taylor Heineke over Desmond Ridder, to me, the move didn't make sense. You go away from the guy that you were supposed to be developing, a guy that we still don't really know what he is, a guy that you drafted in the 3rd round, who had your team in first place in the division, at 4-4. You move and go to a guy in Taylor Heineke, who personally I have no vendetta against. I love Taylor Heineke. He sounds like he's a very humble guy. I listened to his press conference this week, and he's one of those guys that's an underdog, just like Desmond Ridder. He has an underdog story, a guy that was undrafted, a guy that played at Old Dominion University. So a lot of people didn't know, or watch him in college. And he's one of those guys that, like I said, is very humble and can be a lightning rod. He's hot and cold. He has good games and then he has bad games. He makes good throws and makes bad throws. But I pretty much felt like you went to a player in Taylor Heineke that pretty much everybody in NFL have the book on him. Like, know what Taylor Heineke is. You really don't know what you have in Desmond Ridder. So personally, I felt like you kind of broke the momentum and the chemistry that you had with Desmond Ridder going to Taylor Heineke. So now that you've made this move, you're going to have to live with it. And I really just feel like at this point, Arthur Smith has placed a target on his own back at this point. Going to Taylor Heineke, now he's going to have to live and die with the veteran quarterback back there. He did mention in this week's press conference, and Arthur Smith stating that, he's not going to play musical chairs at the quarterback position, and that he will make a final decision after the bye week of who will be the starter the rest of the season. And I'm wishing nothing but the best for Taylor Heineke in this game. I hope that we go out there and win this game against the Arizona Cardinals, because I do think that this is a pivotal game. And I just want to see this team win at the end of the day. But as I keep stating, I really don't think that Taylor Heineke was the answer to changing the fortunes of this Atlanta Falcons team. I really felt like it had more to do with Coach Arthur Smith and his play calling and Dave Ragone. I really feel like it came down to coaching and, executing plays. Yes, Desmond Ridder did have turnovers, but we seen last week, even with a veteran quarterback, you seen Bijan Robinson with the fumble. You seen Taylor Heineke throw the interception, and could have possibly thrown multiple interceptions in last week's games where he was kind of off target and off inaccurate in certain situations. But when I looked at last week's game, and when I looked at all of the games that Desmond Ridder played so far this season, the common denominator is Coach Arthur Smith and Dave Ragone in this play calling. They're not getting, putting players in positions to succeed, especially in the red zone. They're not putting guys like Tyler Algier, Cordell Patterson in situations where they can score the ball. They're being too cute. They're trying to be too creative with doing, trick plays, tight ends trying to throw the ball to another tight end in the red zone instead of just lining up like you've seen us do late in the game last week with Tyler Algier, putting the fullback back there in front of Tyler Algier and letting him run downhill and allowing your offensive line, to maul the opposing offensive lines. We did that all last year. For the first 2 seasons, you've seen Arthur Smith stick to his bread and butter and use that running game. And I'm going to keep repeating it. And I probably sound like a broken record saying the same thing week in and week out about us being physical in the trenches, us running the football. But I'm going to keep saying it until I see some change out of this offense and see some change out of this coaching staff. I really feel like he panicked. He went to Taylor Heineke thinking that it was going to change it, change something. And we seen last week it didn't change anything. It didn't change the Falcons' fortunes. And I really believe that losing last week's game just put a bigger target on Arthur Smith's back as far as, does he know what he's doing? Is he calling the right plays? Because we seen a veteran guy in Taylor Heineke play well in Tennessee in that second half when the Tennessee, Titans didn't prepare for him. But then we seen last week when the team had a full week to prepare for Taylor Heineke, he didn't score a touchdown in the first half either. Everybody told me that, okay, when you go to Taylor Heineke, he's going to be able to put up points. He's going to process things faster. We've seen that in the second half of that Tennessee game. Where was that in the first half last week's game? When we lost last week's game to Minnesota, we seen Younghoe Koo, just like we seen with Desmond Ridder, kicking field goals in the red zone. So at the end of the day, I'm tired of talking. When it comes to Arthur Smith and this offense and Dave Ragone, when your parents say they tired of talking, that somebody finna get a whooping. When they say I'm tired of talking, I'm at that point where I'm tired of talking and tired of repeating the same thing over and over again. At this point, I want to see results, period. I don't want to hear no more excuses. Like I keep hearing, everybody got a reason, but the results are what's going to matter. I don't want to hear who's hurt. I don't want to hear none of that, because this Atlanta Falcons team has the depth. The last 2 years, I feel like Arthur Smith, had a reason to not be in the playoffs. This Falcons team, had guys on 1-year deals. So we had a reason to not be winning. But at this point, for us, this team right now is underachieving. Let's just keep it completely a buck. The first 2 years, Arthur Smith, these guys, they exceeded expectations, going 7-10 with guys on 1-year deals and playing basically rookie guys their first couple years because they didn't have the money to bring in any, big signings, any splash signings. You had a reason to miss the playoffs. But this year, looking at this division, this NFC South division, and looking at the NFC, outside of the Philadelphia Eagles, outside of the 49ers and the Cowboys, you really don't have many teams, in this NFC that's, powerhouse teams. So it's no reason for this Atlanta Falcons team not to make the playoffs this year, whether it's winning the division or whether it's to be a wild card team. If this team doesn't succeed and if this team doesn't have a winning record, as I mentioned, Coach Arthur Smith is going to be on the hot seat, and he's going to hear about it all this offseason if they don't turn this thing around. So now that they've made their decision at quarterback, now that they've done, it's been done, I want to see results. I don't want to hear no more excuses. I want to see these guys go out there and improve. And that's this my little soliloquy before I jump back into the chat and say what's up to everybody, man. But what's going on to my brother, Mad Mike, man? I appreciate you supporting, man. As always, 1/3 of the heavy hitters. I appreciate you. Y'all definitely go and show him some love. Y'all go over there and hit that like and subscribe button on his channel. I think he just hit 9K. If not, he's on his way to 9K. And let's see who else jumped into the chat. Bobby Boy Zone 3. What's good, you? What's going on, man? I appreciate you joining tonight as well. And what's up to my boy from the Panthers Prime podcast? I believe his name is Demetrius, man. What's going on? We linked up before the season and talked a little bit about the Panthers, man. I really appreciate you jumping in the chat and supporting as well. And I'm gonna drop the link at some point. So if you want to come up, come on here and join me at some point in the show as well. But y'all definitely go and show him some love. I believe he hit 1K on his channel. He's a Carolina Panthers podcaster. So y'all definitely go show him some love, man. He's really good people. But I appreciate you jumping in the chat as well. And Damon T, what's going on, man? I appreciate you, man. And with that being said, we're gonna go ahead and jump in. I kind of already got on Arthur Smith, and I said what I needed to say at this point. Like I said, I'm just tired of talking. At this point, I want you to get it done. Let's get the job done. No more excuses. There's no more reasons why this Falcons team shouldn't be winning these games. Let's just be real. We should have beat Minnesota. The Tennessee Titans, that's different. You went in a hostile territory. I understand that game. The defense didn't play well, but last week's game, there was no excuse for that. And this week's game, going up against a 1-8 or 1-7 Arizona Cardinals team, this is a must-win game, and there's not going to be no excuses that's going to be able to save you from this game. I don't care who you are. It's not going to be nobody that can save you. If we lose this game, which I don't believe the Falcons will lose this game, but if they somehow find a way to choke this game, it's going to be somebody's going to have to pay the price. Anthony, right? What's good, Jew? Absolutely right. Yeah, it's no more time for the excuses. The excuses is over with, man. I'm tired of the excuses. I'm tired of talking. I just need to see some W's. I need to see, I need to see this team do what they're supposed to do. And with that being said, let's go ahead and just jump in and talk a little bit about this game. So I gave you guys yesterday my 3 keys to victory for this game going up against these Arizona Cardinals. And personally, in this game, this game could be a trap game for the Atlanta Falcons, but this should be a win. No more excuses. The Arizona Cardinals only won this season 1 game, which was against the Dallas Cowboys. So as I mentioned a couple weeks ago, it's time for this Atlanta Falcons team to start winning the games they're supposed to win and stop playing down to their competition. In this game, you need to jump out to a lead. You don't want to allow this Arizona Cardinals crowd to get in this game. You don't want to allow, Kyler Murray and these young guys that are on this team, because they're a very young team and they have a first-year head coach. You don't want to allow this team to get off to an early start and get confidence. That's what happened last week with the Minnesota Vikings. They started to make plays, and we kept the game close. And then when the game got really, really close, the Vikings were able to come out and squeak out a win, which the game should have never been that close. If we put up the touchdowns that we should have put up earlier in the game, that game wouldn't have been as close as it should have been. And shouts out to Demetrius with the $9.99 super chat. I appreciate it, bro. He says, great show. Hey, man, I appreciate the super chat, man. And as I mentioned, you guys, man, y'all go check out his channel. He does great work as well for the NFC South and definitely for those Carolina Panthers. And he keeps it a buck, man. Like I said, I was on this show maybe about a month or two ago prior to the season starting, and we kind of chopped it up and talked a little bit of Panthers, Falcons, and he keeps it a buck on his channel, man. He don't pull any punches, just like I don't pull no punches over here. But like I was stating, man, in this game against the Arizona Cardinals, you got to get out to a early lead. You got to take this crowd out of the game. You got to take their hearts because they have a young football team. And when you're a team that's lost a lot of games, if we jump out to a lead, I'm not going to say that this team is going to give up because these guys are pros as well, but they're going to get that, they're going to get that feeling like, here we go again, if we jump out to a big lead in this game. So I feel like it's important for the Falcons to jump out to a lead in this game, put your foot on their neck, put your foot on their throat, and press down on the gas. Like, don't allow this to be a close game, because when you playing a team like the Arizona Cardinals, similar to the Minnesota Vikings last week, that doesn't have anything to lose, that's a scary position to be in. And this Arizona Cardinals team doesn't have nothing to lose in this game. They're going to come out guns a-blazing. Expect to see trick plays, fake punts, expect to see everything that they got in this game because they have nothing to lose. They're pretty much already out of the playoff picture. So in this game, they're playing for pride. So we got to come into this game like this is our Super Bowl. We got to come into this game like this is a playoff game, and we got to go out, go in their house and go and take it, because they're going to come out, they're going to come out swinging. And one of the keys in this game, and I talked about this in my pregame show, or my 3 keys to victory, we got to improve on stopping mobile quarterbacks getting outside the pocket. Last week, Josh Dobbs created on back-breaking plays, 3rd and longs. He broke out of a sack against D. Alford and was able to scramble out for a first down. I think scrambled for a touchdown on his first touchdown drive. And then late in the game, you got Bud Dupree, who basically had him dead to rights. He breaks out on 4th and 7, which would have ended the football game, and scampers down for like a 15-yard pickup, which put them in the red zone, which eventually they end up scoring the game-winning touchdown. So in this game, you got to stay in your lanes, in your rush lanes. Guys like Calais Campbell, guys like Lorenzo Carter, those guys that are setting the edge, do not run past Kyler Murray. Keep him in your sights at all time. And when I say don't run past him, when you're going to bend the edge, if you can't see Kyler Murray, it's a problem. You need to stop. If if you're getting ready to run past him, you need to stop your rush altogether. Don't even run past him to try to retrace your steps, because if you try to bend that corner and go for a sack, and you no longer can see Kyler Murray, you're going to create natural running lanes. And Kyler Murray is a lot faster than Josh Dobbs. He's a lot more explosive runner than Josh Dobbs is. So he'll easily get 20 to 30 yards easy if we're in man coverage and he breaks contain. So in this game, that's the number one thing in this game against their offense is do not allow Kyler Murray to use his legs. Keep him in the pocket. And like I said, do not run past him. If you have to stay in your lanes and keep your eyes on him at all times, put your hands up, try to bat the football down, but don't try to, do all these crazy spin moves and create extra running lanes for him to run through, because that's what he's going to look to do in this game. The second key in this game, and I talked about this as well, is the turnovers. We got to stop turning the ball over. When we get the football, when we're driving the ball, we have to keep our two hands on the football, high and tight for our running backs, for our quarterbacks. Don't put the ball in harm's way. If the pass is not there, do not try to force it. Throw that ball away, because our defense have kept us in every single football game. We have a top 15 defense, so it's no reason in this game to try to be the hero, try to thread the needle and throw a football in tight coverage, which could easily get intercepted. In this game, you kind of want to play it safe. Allow your defense to win this game. Allow for field position to win this game. Don't put the ball in harm's way. If you can stay away from, putting the ball in harm's way in this game, that's what you want to do. You don't want to just throw the ball up. Even though you have Drake London, you have Kyle Pitts, and you want to allow those guys to make plays, you don't want to put the ball in harm's way and give that Arizona offense short fields. I want them driving 70, 80, 65 yards every time they have to drive the ball, because our defense is one of the better defenses in the league. We don't give up a ton of explosive plays, even though we've been giving up explosive plays. We gave up explosive plays against Tennessee. This team, for the most part on defense, we've been pretty good at holding teams, under, getting those big 30, 40-yard pass plays and big runs. So in this game, allow field position, allow this defense in this running game, and allow your trenches to win this game. But with that being said, I also want to just jump right back in the chat, man, and see if anybody else has joined since I've been ranting a little bit. So shouts out to Xavier Littman. I appreciate it, man. Yeah, black and red all day, man. We got to get this win. It's going to be the Battle of the Birds tomorrow. Let's see here. And Damon T says there were a lot of missed tackles for sure. Most definitely. Yeah, that was a backbreaker last week. You cannot miss open tackles. When you have a chance to get a sack, which we've seen D. Alford, he's played really well this year. Him and Bud Dupree both have played really well, and this defense has played really well. And I really hate getting on the defense about missed tackles, because they played pretty much flawless football for the most part. The first half of this season, and it's been the offense that they've been carrying. The defense has been carrying the offense all year, but still, we can't allow a backup quarterback or anybody. When you have a chance at a sack, you have to make the tackle. You can't give up 4th and 7s. You can't give up 3rd and longs. That good teams don't allow things like that to happen. They close the door. When it's 4th and 7, Bud Dupree got to make that play, point blank in the period. D. Alford, when you come in for a clean sack, unblocked, untouched, and you got, the quarterback or you got the player dead to rights, you got to get them on the ground. That's just the plain and simple. If you want to be a team that is going to win the division and make the playoffs, you got to do the small things. And that's what our team is kind of struggling with, is the fundamentals. Make the small plays. Tackling is a fundamental, that's no excuse for that. You got to make those type of plays. And let's see here. And Damon T says Richie Grant worries me as well. Richie Grant is a good player. Richie Grant just has to, again, it goes back to what I was stating. You have to go back to your fundamentals. Richie Grant has to, his eyes, he always is looking to jump a route, and he has to just play his key. Every player on this team, and I mentioned this last week with Drew Dalman struggling and guys trying to pick up the slack. Guys like Chris Lindstrom, guys like Caleb McGarry, guys like Matthew Bergeron, guys are trying to do other guys' job instead of doing their 1 of 11 as we preach, and they preach in that locker room. You always hear Jesse Bates, one of the leaders of our defense, stating, do your job. Do the 1 of 11. Do what your assignment is. Don't worry about the man next to you. Do what you're supposed to do. If your job is to plug up the hole for the run, stay in your gap. If your job is to stay in the A gap, stay in the A gap. Your job is to stay in the B gap, stay in the B gap. Do what you're supposed to do. Don't worry about everybody else. Because when you start trying to overcompensate, that's when mistakes start to be made because you're not trusting your teammate to do his job. And Dre Murphy says we're tackling better in the last week's game. We win that freaking game, point blank, period. End of discussion. Most definitely. The game was won. When it's 4th down, 4th and 7, Bud Dupree is a veteran, and he's been playing really well for our team this year. He made a nice move where he kind of slow played it and then dipped up under the offensive tackle, and he had Josh Dobbs dead to rights. You got to finish that. When you get that close, he should have had a game-winning sack on that play. And Mike says, I refuse to say number 27 name. Every time I mention him, he does something dumb. Richie Grant, like we said, he's a good player. He had a really good interception, a crucial interception in that Bucks game, which kept us in first place in the NFC South. So Richie Grant has all of the skill set to be a special player. It's just his eyes. Sometimes he gets caught, taking the bait. He has to learn how to stop taking the bait and do his role. If you're in single high or if you're the last line of defense as a safety, you can't be biting up for a slant route or a double move. You can't be biting up. Now, corners is one thing for them to be biting on double moves, but you're the last line of defense. So if you get the opposing receiver or tight end or running back get behind you, that's a touchdown. So we've seen that against DeAndre Hopkins in that Tennessee Titans game. Richie Grant has all of the skills to be a really good safety. He just has to stop taking the bait. Let's see here. And I appreciate each and every one of you guys. Like I said, man, definitely hit that like, hit that subscribe button for your boy. Share out this content. Let's see. And there you go, right there. Anthony White said it best. Richard Grant is a good player, but makes bad mental mistakes at the wrong time. That's exactly what it is. It's mental mistakes. He's making mental mistakes. He has to stop taking the bait. Do your 1 of 11, as I was just talking about. If your job is to have the deep third or whatever you're supposed to be covering, do your job. Don't try to get an interception and try to win the game and make the game-winning pick. Do your job and stay in your lane, because in that game against the Tennessee Titans, he bid up thinking he knew what he was going to run a slant, and then he got beat deep, and that cost a touchdown because he wasn't doing his job. His job wasn't to go down there and try to cut somebody off and get an interception. His job was to stay in the deep part of the field. So, and that's something you learn in high school, middle school, peewee. If you're the last line of defense and your job is to make sure the ball don't get thrown over our head, then you have to stay in your zone. And shouts out to Six Man in the building. He says the minister with the fire. Yeah, man, I guess I had to bring the fire and the brimstone because this team, man, I hate to see a team that has a bunch of talent, but they underachieve. And that's what we're doing right now. Let's just keep it real. This Falcons team is underachieving. Yeah, there's still a lot of time left in this season, but we've let a lot of games slip away that should have been wins. And it's because we're not doing fundamentally sound things. And that comes down to coaching, and that comes down to what Anthony White talked about as being you're making mental mistakes. You're not even making physical. That's just making mental mistakes when you're not doing your assignment. That's the Barney basics. You go over that week in and week out when they look at film and when they're coming up with these game plans throughout the week. Every player on this team should know what their job is on Sunday, what their 1 of 11 is. So if you're not doing that, that falls on the players. These guys know what they're supposed to be doing. And Dre Murphy says we still got Mike Hughes too. We good depth at cornerback. Yeah, we straight at cornerback. We'll be fine. And that goes to what you're saying, that brings up Clark Phillips. They talked about Clark Phillips possibly getting some playing time in this game because I believe that one of the corners, I don't know if it was D. Alford or Mike Hughes. I know one of those guys are supposed to be out on Sunday. So we could finally see a Clark Phillips sighting. And Clark Phillips is one of those guys who's a very mentally tough, physical kid. Even though he's a smaller cornerback, he's similar to a D Alfred. He's cut from that same cloth. A guy that's not the biggest guy, but he's a ball hawk. He's a guy that can take the ball away, but he's not afraid to tackle. And that's one thing that we talked about last week, missing tackles. Clark Phillips is a guy who doesn't miss a lot of tackles. He's a guy that's very good in open space, whether you lining him up on the outside at the outside corner or whether you're using him in the nickel. He did both at Utah University, and he was one of the better, one of the better corners in the Pac-12 when he was in college. So I'm looking forward to seeing number 34, Clark Phillips, back there, man. I'm definitely looking forward to seeing him get some playing time in this game. Let's see here. And Drake Murphy says, me personally, I don't like the Van Jefferson trade because he can't freaking catch a freaking cold in Alaska. No, Van Jefferson is actually a good player. I definitely understand where you're coming from. He did have that key drop in the Tennessee Titans game. But Van Jefferson, I like the pickup of Van Jefferson because he does something different than Drake London, Kyle Pitts, the guys that we had, Jonnu Smith, those bigger physical guys. Van Jefferson is a guy who adds that speed element for this Atlanta Falcons team. And this team needs guys that can, run deep routes. We didn't have a lot of guys outside of Scotty Miller and then us bringing back DirtyBird. We really didn't have guys that could take the top off the defense. Mac Hollins is a guy who can take the top off the defense, but for whatever reason, Arthur Smith, they haven't really caught a lot of plays for him to run deep, deep routes. But outside of, those guys that I mentioned, Van Jefferson is one of those guys that's special as far as being a big playmaker. So I definitely think that was a good pickup. And you got him for, pennies on the dollar. The trade that they made for him, I don't remember what they gave up, like a 6 or 7 round pick or something like that. Van Jefferson is a guy that's really, really good. So you definitely want to have guys that have depth and have experience. Van Jefferson has a lot of experience when he was with the Los Angeles Rams, and he was one of those big playmakers. If you go look up some of his highlights and stuff like that when he was with the Rams, and if you just go look at that first game he played when they tried to hit him on a deep route, I think it was Desmond Ridder tried to hit him on a post pattern. He got behind the defense. The ball was a little bit overthrown. So he's a guy that's a speedster, and we know that speed kills. If you can use him, and if if he can get deep, he's definitely a guy that can ball out. And K Style said BAME by any means necessary. Most definitely. Yeah, we need this, dub. I don't care how you get it, but you better get it done. At the end of the day, like I said, I'm tired of the excuses. I don't want to hear no more excuses. Just get the job done. And Drake Mercy says Hodge has been doing the thing, though. Yeah, no. Hodge has been one of those guys that's surprisingly, what I like about Hodge is when he catches the ball, he just doesn't go down. He's a guy that he catches the ball and he looks to run after catch. And he's one of those guys that has made tough catches this year. And one thing that I love about Hodge too is he doesn't drop a lot of footballs. I don't think he's dropped any passes that I can remember this season. He makes a lot of tough catches, and he's made a lot of key catches on third down. He's made some big catches for us on third down this year. So Hodge is one of those guys I definitely think that should get more opportunities. But one thing I like about Hodge is when he gets his opportunities, he makes the most of them. He had a big catch against the Bucks where he broke a tackle, broke about 2-3 tackles, and ran for like another 10 to 15 yards. And we know that Arthur Smith's, most of his passing plays are made for guys that can run out the catch. So one thing I love about Cordell Hodge is he's a great special teams player. He's a glue guy, but he's a guy that's physically tough and mentally tough, and he's a guy that runs out the catch. He doesn't just go down when he catches the ball. Most of the time, he's going to get you 5 to 10 yards after the catch because he's not a guy that's going to give up on the play. He's going to look to break a tackle and make some more out of it. So, yeah, I love Cordell Hodge, man, what he brings to the table. He's definitely one of those guys, kind of puts me in the mind of like a Mohamed Sanu, because he's one of those guys that a lot of people don't give a lot of credit to, but he does his job. Like I was talking about, he's a consistent contributor to this team. So you need as many players. When I talk about depth, Cordell Hodge is one of those guys, and we seen it. I think it was last week or the week before last when Drake London had that groin injury. They put Cordell Hodge in, and immediately he came in and started making plays. So when you have guys like that take advantage of their opportunities, they deserve more opportunities. And I really feel like Cordell Hodge is a guy that's kind of been moving up the depth chart because he's made plays. When he gets those opportunities, like y'all talking about Van Jefferson dropping the ball, Cordell Hodge, I've been seeing him out there a lot, but I think it's because he's out there making plays. He's not making those mental mistakes. He's not dropping footballs. He's running the right routes. He's blocking. He's doing the things that they're asking him to do. But with that being said, man, you guys drop those questions for your boy. We at that hour where y'all go ahead and get this fan Q&A. I'm gonna open it up to you guys where you guys can give me your thoughts, give me your take on this game. Anything you want to talk about, I'm gonna see I'll drop the link as well for you guys. If y'all want to come in here and kind of chat with me, give me your thoughts on what you expect. Let's see here. Give me 1 second so I can drop the link for y'all. All right, so I just dropped the link in the chat. So if y'all want to come in here and chat with your boy for a minute or two, and give me your thoughts on this game, who's your X factors for this game, Arthur Smith, whatever you want to talk about, I want to hear from the fans. I want to hear from you guys, man. Dave says, I'm sticking with the defense. Yeah, this Falcons team is a defensive-minded team. I don't care what nobody says. Arthur Smith might be an offensive-minded coach, but the defense has been ruling, the day or ruling the season. They've been the side of the ball that's been dominating. So at this point, this Falcons team is a gritty defensive-minded team. Run the ball and play good defense, similar to the Philadelphia Eagles, the Pittsburgh Steelers. We are a run-first team, so we got to get back to what we do, grit and grind. And shout out to my bro with the $4.99 super chat. VA, what's going on? He says, much love, bro. Keep grinding. Most definitely. We got to keep it rolling, but I appreciate that $4.99 super chat. And, man, hit that link, man. If you want to come in here and chat with your boy, hit that link. What's going on, Six, man? What you got for us?
Minister. What it do?
Yeah. I've been bringing the fire and brimstone, but hey, I'm tired of the excuses. Y'all know how I've been talking to y'all after each show. We've been talking after the heavy hitter show, like for another hour or two. Hey, I'm fed up, man. I want wins. As much as we keep hearing it, our fans say, I want to win. It's just like I'm tired of the excuses. To me, there's no more excuses for this team. This is a 1-7, 1-8 Cardinals team. You got to go out there and you got to take it. You know what I'm saying? It's no more time for letting these games be close. I understand it's the NFL, but I want to hear from you, bro. What you got, man?
I think you said the main thing just a little while ago as far as I want to reiterate on that. I'm thinking what the issue with what we're seeing right now is, like you said, and you got a lot of young players on this team, and you have to think about the expectation of what this team had coming into this year. And I think a lot of the players can kind of bid into it. That's like I said, that could be my only explanation that I can come into right now is we were expected to be better than what we were. And I think a lot of the players kind of bid into that. But like you said, I agree with you. Bam, by any means necessary. You got to win this one.
That's it. No more excuses.
Because you got to because like you said, after the bye week, we got to remember, after this game is the bye week next week, and now the real part of your schedule is about to begin.
Yep, that gauntlet, New Orleans.
There you go.
At New Orleans.
Exactly. You got 2 games against New Orleans. You got Carolina. You got Tampa. You got a couple teams in there that should be easy pickings. But
Chicago, yeah.
But like I said, man, we cannot lose. We can't lose this game.
Nah. So there ain't no excuse for it. It's gonna be a long bye if we lose this game. And Arthur Smith thought that the Pickett, they were picking him before. It's gonna get real. Like everybody gonna be for a job. I'm just being real. The media, they thought the media been loud. Hey, You got to go 2 whole weeks until the next game. Oh, bro, it's gonna get
Right.
real. So I'm wishing nothing but the best. You know how I am. I'm always a cup is always half full with me. So I'm rooting for this team like heck. I want to see them succeed, but I think it's gonna all come down to both him and the players. They got to buy in, and then he got to do the right things in the red zone. Get Tyler Algier the ball, feed Cordell Patterson, bump what the media is talking about with Bijan Robinson, bump the fantasy, bump all of that. Like he keeps saying it ain't fantasy football. So because you saying that, bump trying to feed certain players that are fantasy football, players that everybody thinks should be getting a lot of points in fantasy football. Forget it. I want to win at the end of the day. I can care less about fantasy football.
And it just gets back to getting back to your basics for this team. They got to get back to what they were.
That's it.
And that really what it comes down to. It's they've been of lack of identity of what they wanted to be so far this season. It's disappointing.
It's very disappointing. I rarely come like this, but
I know.
I'm tired, bro. I'm just being honest. I'm tired of it because I just feel like we got to be better. Like you can't. I told we've been talking about this behind the scenes, and I told y'all I'm tired. You can lie to the media, you can lie to the casual fan, you can't lie to me. I'm looking at this like, bruh, you came into this like, yeah, you can't lie to me. You can lie to the people, but people that actually look beneath the surface and look at this, it's like I'm looking at this team the last 2 years. I'm like, okay, I got the most patience in the world. I had patience. Okay, we 7-10. Okay, you working with rookies, you working with 1-year deals. You're working with the biggest cap hit in NFL history. Those are not excuses. Those are reasons. Now I feel like a lot of this stuff that we're hearing is excuses because you made the decision to move on from that. That was your decision. Now, when you make that move, what I tell you on Mike, you didn't put the target on your own back because now when you don't have the success, people are going to say, well, why you even make the move? That's how I'm looking at it. Like, if you're going to do this and lose anyway, you might as well kept the rookie out there or the first-year starter. That's just how I look at it. I'm not going to bring in a 6-year veteran just to keep losing and losing the same way. Like, I'm not saying no difference. So I'm like, if you're going to do that, then play the guy that I haven't seen. I've seen Taylor Heineke, maybe not here in Atlanta, but we've seen, 4, 5, 6-year career out of him. You doing the same thing. We might as well, like I told you and Mike, we might as well brought Marcus Mariota back. We're going to do this. You might as well. We're doing the same thing. You know what I'm saying? We're doing the same thing. So I'm just like, it doesn't make sense to me. Like, make it make sense. If you're going to make this move, you make this move because you say Taylor Heineke's the better player. He gives his team the better chance to win. You don't make this move because you feeling pressure from the media. You don't make that move. That's a move to get you fired. You know what I'm saying? I'm just being real. That now you putting yourself on a hot seat. Like, to me, he put himself in this situation. So now I'm like, I can't defend him no more. I tried. I'm tired of it. I said, I tried to give you a chance. I'm tired. I got something. When your parents say I'm tired, somebody get a whipping. When they say sit down, I'm tired of talking. And then all the next thing you know is you're gonna hear some leather. You're gonna hear the belt come out. I'm tired of talking. And that's why I'm in with Arthur Smith and these coaching staff. I'm tired of saying over and over again, okay, give this guy a chance. I'm tired of the excuses of, well, we're using guys as decoys and we're doing this. I don't care what the reasons is. I want to see results. I'm tired of hearing the reasons of why you doing what you're doing, because at some point you gonna, just like Desmond Ritter time wound up, Arthur Smith time is winding up because of decisions that he's making. You know what I'm saying? At the end of the day, I got to judge you just like we judged everybody else. And we was hard on Dan Quinn, but guess what? Dan Quinn had, veteran players, but he got that team to a Super Bowl. So I'm looking at Arthur Smith like, we giving you this long leash, and we were hard. Like, we was hard on Dan Quinn at the end. We was calling that man DQ, Dairy Queen, and all kind of people was coming out the woodworks after he blew that Super Bowl. So I'm like, if we're gonna have that same energy, and you know how we always say keep that same energy, I got that same energy right now for Arthur Smith. Like, bruh, if you make this move, I told him when he made that quarterback move, that showed me some weakness out of him. That, okay, why did you do it? You know what I'm saying? You got to show me reasons. And if I don't see this team improving and you just did that just to do it, then to me that shows me that it's some flaw out there that I need to start taking out a microscope and trying to figure out. Okay, like I told you, now everything is going to be judged with a fine-tooth comb. Before I was like, nah, get a man a chance. But then when I seen this, I said, oh no, bring that fine tooth comb out, because now you giving us reasons to try to put you under the microscope. You did it to yourself. You did it to yourself. So now I'm done protecting him. He gotta protect himself at this point.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, like you said, it's the expectations of what everybody thought this team was going to be. Um,
Yeah.
and like you said, it is not necessarily the mistakes that's it. I'm gonna say, yeah, the turnovers is a problem, but what's also the problem that a lot of people are seeing is these critical penalties at the wrong time of drives. Like you said, it's the missed tackles, and
Mm-hmm.
it's
It's
blown
Desmond
assignments
not
on
getting
defense.
a play call in at late in the game when he can't get a play call in and we get a delay a
The
game. It's
leg
that kind of stuff. Yeah, man. It's that kind of
it,
stuff. And that's coaching.
and that goes back to what you say about the 3 or 4 plays. And a lot of times, those 3 or 4 plays, a good portion of the time, it may not always be the X's and O's. It may not be the play on the field. It could be, like I said, pre-snap stuff. Like you said, man, I'm be honest with you, as crazy as this may sound, these last 2 losses, these last 2 or 3 losses we've seen this team, and especially now that Ritter has been benched, and like I said, it. I think in the disappointment of all this thing, this is about the most united I've seen this fan base all year.
Yeah, I agree.
And it's crazy,
I,
isn't
I,
it?
I agree with you. But it's like it's just chaos. You know what I'm saying? But like
Yeah.
I said, I'm behind the team fully. If I'm
Mhm,
rooting for them to win, I'm rooting for, like, heck, like I listened to Taylor Heineke. This dude sound
mhm,
humble as crap at the podium. You know what I'm saying? He humble. He
mhm,
ain't say this my team now. He ain't said none of that, because he was Desmond Ritter at one point. He know that
mhm,
about being an underdog. This man was undrafted. So just like everybody's on Desmond Ritter neck about being a third rounder, this man was not even drafted. So he understands everything that Desmond is going through. He's basically stated Desmond Ritter's still running the quarterback room, when we getting ready to prepare for games and all of that. He understands that he coming in to play a role. So I'm rooting like heck that he go out there and ball, because at the end of the day, they all are Atlanta Falcons. So if you put that logo on the side of that helmet, I'm rooting for you. I don't care who it is. So people that may think that I'm in Desmond Ritter corner, I'm in the Falcons corner. I can care less. But what I do want to see is them put the best players out there on the field and put them in positions to succeed. And I really feel like Arthur Smith and the coaching staff, they really didn't put Desmond Ritter in the position to succeed. They gave him some good opportunities, like him fumbling, in the goal line, that had nothing to do with coaching. That was all Desmond Ritter. Some of the picks that he threw, that one that he just threw up against the Commanders when we was in the red zone, that falls all on Desmond Ritter. That had nothing to do with him, other than the coach, the call not getting in time. But even with
mhm,
that situation, what do we say? You throw that ball in the back of the end zone, son. You don't just throw it up in the end,
mhm,
throw it up for grabs. That's unacceptable. So I'm not, giving Desmond Ritter any excuses as well. But what I am going to do is I'm going to play it down the middle. I do see, last week we still had 2 turnovers. So who fault is that? Is that Desmond Ritter? Is that coaching? What is it? You know what I'm saying? And I'm gonna start pointing it out, because some people, I'm not gonna just sit back and try to act like I don't see what's going on, turn a blind eye to it. Like I said, now everything I'm watching closely. Once y'all told me Desmond Ritter couldn't get the job done, now I'm trying to figure out, well, why we still ain't getting it done. If y'all told me that Heineke was gonna be able to do it, or whoever was gonna be able to do it, then we need to see it done. Period. You know what I'm saying? I don't care who it
mhm.
is. I don't care what your name is. Long as you can go out there and ball, I care less. You know what I'm saying? We
Look,
seen Matt Ryan, now Desmond Ritter, Mariota. I don't care. I just want to see production. You know what I'm saying? At the end of the day, and Arthur Blank just want production. Arthur Blank don't care nothing about the name on the back of that jersey. He just want to see this team succeed, and that's
Mhm.
what I want to see. So that's why I keep telling you
Right.
that when I keep saying I'm tired, what I'm tired of is people thinking that I'm, bickering about the player. Coming out the draft, I could care less about Desmond Ritter or any of these guys just as individuals. What I'm looking at is the team as a whole and what's going to make this team be successful at the end of the day. I can care less about which player it is. You know what I'm saying? I'm just keeping it a
Mhm.
buck. Like I told them when Taylor Heineke got in there. We've seen Taylor Heineke. I've seen this cat play before. We've seen this cat, just like we had seen Marcus Mariota play before. So they ain't catch, like, this ain't taking us by surprise. It might have took the casual fan that seen that 1 second half of Taylor Heineke against the Titans, and they thought, oh man, he put up 20-some points in a half. What did we say? That ain't gonna last. And I mentioned this earlier in the show. What did we see last week in the first half? We seen the same ineptitude. We won't score in the red zone. We didn't put up any touchdowns. So what that tell you, Kay, if the common denominator, if the coach is the same, but the quarterbacks didn't change, who the problem? Is it the quarterback or is it the coach?
It's going to look like the coaches. It's the coaches right then and there.
Yeah, it's a common denominator. I'm just gonna be honest with you. I can't make this stuff up.
Look,
like I say,
hey, look, when you put it out there like that, hey, like you said, you can't make it up.
You gotta look yourself in the mirror. So at the end of the day, what I want Arthur Smith to do, I'm kind of glad he shaved the mustache, because hopefully he looked himself in the mirror and say, I gotta make a change. Keep pointing the finger at my players, not executing and not doing what they need to do. I need to make a change as well. And like we said, go back to what worked for you the last 2 years. Period. I don't care what you got to do. Go back to them tapes of when you was with the Titans. Go find your best plays, and I need to see them on Sunday. Period. I don't care what, but we got to start putting up points. At the end of the day, that's what it's about. Like I said, I protected this man and did everything I could, but now I'm tired. I'm just like, once I get tired, I'm not finna be doing this. I seen, look, we didn't gave this man 2 years, and like we said, he didn't have the weapons. Now you have the weapons. So you mess around and go 7-10 again. What's the common denominator again? You see where I'm going with this? I can't keep defending this and trying to, because the fans gonna want answers. Arthur Blank want answers. They don't want to hear none of these excuses you got. They don't want to hear about Grady being hurt. They don't want to hear none of that, because they built this team in a way where you got the depth. We seen Onyemata balling. Even with Grady not being out there Sunday, we was getting pressure. We was getting sacks. So I ain't no timeout for this player's out, and I'm looking for every little reason to say why we not having success. But we sitting around here with what they say is the easiest schedule, whatever remaining. We sitting back here watching guys that just get picked up the same week come in and they look like they got some sense. That don't make sense to me. You
know, but that goes back to what I tell you, man. I like I said, I think that's really what the issue is a lot of guys are buying into the hype on this team. And let me ask you a question. Let me ask you a question. And I want to get your honest opinion on this.
Go ahead, man.
Last year's offense compared to this year's offense. In your right mind, would you believe that last year's offense was a little bit more successful as far as doing what they need to do to get the job done and sticking with their identity?
I think so. Because, and I ain't gonna say I think so. I know so. This last year's team, they had an identity. They stuck to it. And this is something that I said early in the year. And I've heard you and Mike say it over and over again. What did I say? We got too many groceries now. Now we got too many guys that you're trying to make the focal point. CP was the focal point. Tyler Algier was the focal point. You had other guys, that did they roles, Kyle Pitts and stuff like that. But you stuck to your running game. You stuck to what you were. But now I feel like you trying to branch out. You trying to use Bijan Robinson in the passing game. You're trying to get Bijan Robinson going. Okay, now I got Drake London. Oh, now, okay, I got Kyle Pitts. Okay, now I still got to try to feed Tyler Algier somehow, some way. I'm trying to feed Jonnu Smith that we brought in. So it's like you got too many ingredients you trying to throw into this gumbo or this little meal that you're making. And I feel like what you said, they are losing their identity because there's so many mouths he's trying to feed that they don't know what they're doing, or they don't even know what plays are successful. And if you guys go and check out Atlanta Sports Unlimited, go check out Mr. Mathis, Terrence Mathis. They put out great content. I'll be watching their channel pretty much every week. And he's saying the same thing. He talked about when we got in the red zone, we knew who was getting the ball. We knew Jamal Anderson in 98. When they got in the red zone, it wasn't no question. The defense knew Jamal was getting the ball, and it was no stopping him. Because he coming downhill, 250 plus pounds, 35 plus pounds. He coming downhill, and you better buckle your chin strap because we coming downhill. You know what I'm saying? We coming with the fullback in the backfield, and we coming downhill. With this team, when we get in the red zone, we don't know what we getting ready to do. Last week I seen us try to do a jet sweep with Jonnu Smith. The other week I seen us trying to have Jonnu Smith throw the ball to Pruitt. We don't know what we want to do. What that tell you, Kay, when you see them type of plays? That tell me what Mr. Mathis was saying. We don't know. We hoping that plays work. We don't know what we want to do. When you get in the red zone, you already have the plays that you know for sure this should work. You know what I'm saying? And the player should be confident. He said, Mr. Mathis talked about it. These players don't even look confident. When they go out there to run these plays, it's kind of like, okay, we finna try this. No. When the last 2 years, when we had CP in the backfield or Tyler Algier, I pretty much could bank on we're finna punch this ball in the end zone. Period. And teams knew we was getting ready to run it, and they really couldn't stop it. So I really feel like we're struggling to find our identity. Just to answer your question, that's the long answer. I feel like we're struggling because he's trying to be something he's not. Like you said, he's trying to, okay, let's open it up and do something different. But when we say be creative, it ain't gotta be a triple, a reverse pass. It ain't gotta be that complicated. You know what I'm saying? Being creative can be, I've heard somebody say this, get in a wildcat and put CP at the quarterback and let him hand the ball, act like he's gonna hand it to Tyler Algier. Use your weapons that you got. That, to me, that's creative. And the wildcat is not even that. If you think about it, it ain't really that creative. It's just basically RPO, basically. You know what I'm saying? It ain't really nothing special about it. But I feel like Arthur Smith is doing he's doing the most, as we see. He's doing the most, bro. He overthinking it. So I really feel like we're beating ourselves if you look at it. We're beating ourselves. Let's be real. We're beating these teams are not beating us. We're beating ourselves. And that's what's making me upset. And that's why I say I'm tired, because it ain't that I'm saying like we're not good enough. Like the last 2 years, I'm like, dang, the teams are just better than us. Like when another team is just running the ball down your throat, you can't stop it. You can't get the ball back. That doesn't have nothing to do with scheme or none of that. That got to do with we just can't stop them. You know what I'm saying? But now that you got the pieces, I don't see the reason. And your same question, I kind of want you to answer your own question. What do you feel about like this team and the identity? Because I feel like they kind of lost it, this year. They're losing it for whatever reason.
Well, actually, when you look at it, they had the identity, but this is where I say they lost it when they fell into the criticisms of what a lot of people wanted. Like I said, even when you look at the first 2 games, yeah, you could say, well, they started off slow in both of those games, but they averaged 25 points a game, 24 points a game in those first 2 games by being themselves. It's like once all the other aspects of why isn't Drake London, why isn't Kyle Pitts getting the ball, I feel like when they started getting the criticisms based on that, that's where the identity of this team shifted, and it threw them in a tailspin right now, because they, like I said, it's like a Ferris wheel spinning sideways. It ain't going nowhere. You literally sitting at it's like
that was a great point you.
It's like a Ferris wheel spinning sideways. It ain't going nowhere. You at the same level. Like I said,
and that's what's pissing me off. Okay, not to cut you off, I'm gonna let you finish your part. That's what's been making me upset, is that I don't see this going anywhere. That's why I say, why put Taylor Heineke in? Because I don't see this going anywhere. You doing this, you like you said, you a Ferris wheel spinning in the same direction. Your trajectory didn't go up. So what are we doing? You see what I'm saying? And I can understand the fans being upset, because before it's like I was even preaching, all right, let's just be patient. All right. But then when I seen we aborting mission, cut the cord, execute order 66, as Senator Palpatine say, Taylor Heineke. Okay, well, when we do that, then guess what? I better see like us lighting the scoreboard up. I better see immediate like change. I better see it. And if I don't start seeing it, and I see we just sitting in the same spot we were sitting in before, then what we doing? You see what I'm saying? If we ain't going, this is my point. And that's why I mentioned earlier, if we're not going anywhere and they say we're not going anywhere, then leave Ritter out there. You're not going anywhere. So whether he turned the ball over or whatever's going on, you're not going anywhere this year. That's what y'all made up in y'all mind. Then why are y'all going to a backup? That don't make sense.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? You go to a
Right.
backup and you feel like he finna make a change. If you don't feel like nothing finna happen, then I'm not taking you out. It's like when I was coaching my little league team, man. If I got a kid that's out there on the court that can't shoot, and then I say, well, I'm gonna sub him out and put another kid in that I know can't shoot. What are we doing? You know what we doing? We make that make sense. We ain't doing nothing. We moving in the same direction. We going nowhere. So we doing all of this dysfunction just to sit in the same spot, bro. That's what's pissing me off. Like that don't make no sense. That's the make it makes this the make it make sense segment right here. You said it best. We spinning our wheels for no reason. We a hamster on a wheel going nowhere.
Yeah. And another thing too is what was the biggest difference between last year and this year to where I feel like the offense was more efficient last year. Like you said, it's the RPO, man. As much as Mike hates those three letters RPO, like you said, he's got away from that portion of his offense, which a lot of people don't talk about was a big portion of his offense in Tennessee too. And we getting away, and what it's doing, and what a lot of people don't know about what this RPO does, and kind of moving the pocket is. My Drew, you seen Drew Dahlman struggles and stuff like that, right?
Yeah.
This is from what I see in my eyes is if they running more RPO, those Drew Dahlman struggles don't stick out because you're not relying on him to hold up the middle.
I agree with you. And when you move the pocket, you're not relying on him either. How many times y'all said run the ball with Desmond Ridder, and we seen success every time y'all say if you get Desmond Ridder out the pocket and use his legs. Like I said, other than him getting the ball punched out at the goal line, that was going to be a touchdown. So guess what? That worked. You know what I'm saying? That's my problem with Taylor. That don't when you got Taylor Heineke in there, you're not running them same type of plays you're gonna run with a Desmond Ridder. You rolled him out like the one play where they had, I think was Hollins going on a jet sweep. He faked like he was gonna give it to him, and he took off with the ball the other way where he scored a touchdown. I think that was like the week prior, and then they did the same exact thing twice on Tampa. And both should have been touchdowns. Them the type of plays that you can't run now. Like you were just making that statement. You ain't running that with Taylor Heineke. Let's just keep it real. He's not a quarterback that you're gonna use his legs. So that's why I'm bothered, because I'm like, you went away from what we keep saying with Dan Quinn. You went away from what was working.
But here's the thing though, with Tyler Heineke actually can run the RPO too. That's the thing.
He can, but I don't think
he's not going to be as fast as Desmond, but like I said, they both can run that RPO style.
Yeah, he's capable.
It's just like Damon T said, run the damn ball. Run the damn ball.
Yeah, we appreciate the super chat, $4.99 super chat, but that's been our mantra: run the ball, and that's what this is what we need to tell Arthur Smith. Do we need to send you a hoodie with this on your hoodie during the game? Run the ball. Don't forget who you are. That should be on his play sheet somewhere. Run the ball should be in bold with exclamation points behind it. And it should have a pecking order under it. Run the dang ball. 1A, Tyler Algier. 1B. I'm being real.
Exactly.
Highlight it, bro. Like you seen at the end of the game. What did we do at the end of the game? Last game when we went down and scored against Minnesota, they literally fed who the ball all the way down the field.
Tyler Algier.
When we got in the red zone, who they get a ball to when we scored that touchdown? Tyler Algier. I kept telling my wife, feed him. When I was watching him run the ball, I thought about Zeke Elliott when he was with the Cowboys, when he was in the prime Zeke, where they just fed him. You couldn't stop it because they had aggressive offensive line, and Zeke was a beast. He was just coming downhill, and one man was not going to bring him down or wasn't going to stop his momentum. And that's the same thing with Tyler Algier. When you get in the fourth quarter, them guys is worn out, and Tyler Algier ain't going down on the one, on first contact. That dude was running through everything. So, and that's a mentality. That's why I keep saying I love Bijan Robinson. Don't get me wrong, he's a good player, but as we talked about, it's a mentality. And on this team, the mentality, Tyler Algier and CP, they laid the foundation for that mentality. They laid the groundwork for that mentality. Bijan Robinson is just the whipped cream and the the cherry on top. To me, they're using him like he's he's the workhorse. And to me, that's not his style. He should be, like I said, he should be the Tony Pollard of our team. You should see Bijan Robinson get in maybe about 10 carries, 10, 15 carries, and he's going to be the guy that's going to be the change of pace guy. When he come in, he can catch the ball. He's a guy who can hit the outside. He can get you at any point, break one for 80 yards, because he's one of them guys that's can hit his head on the goalpost at any point because he's that special, explosive type athlete. But when you talk about consistency, meaning you need to be feeding them like a workhorse, giving about 20 carries, CP and Tyler Algier should be them guys that's wearing down the defense. It shouldn't be Bijan. That's not his style. That's his run style.
Right.
But yeah, man, I appreciate you jumping on with me, man. Go ahead and give your closing thoughts, Kay, because I got another one waiting, but you good, bro. We
I ain't know somebody waiting in the back. I ain't mean to be on here that long.
Now, matter of fact, I'm gonna bring them on with you. Bring them up here with us, because they've been waiting for a minute. But you good, bro. Go ahead and give your final touches too, Kay, on like what you was gonna say, man. Your finishing thoughts.
At the end of the day, man, like I said, the new mantra right now for this Atlanta Falcon team is by any means necessary. We like I said, it's done of the day. After this game, we need to kill all this stuff about we ain't doing such and such. We ain't doing just. I don't give a damn. If Keith Smith got to lead this team in rushing touchdowns for the rest of the season, I'm fine with that.
Say that again, Kay. If anything is necessary. If Keith Smith got a guy who leading his team, hey, it is what it is. I was listening last night. I think it was the Therapist. They all were doing their show last night. I think it was on Mad Mike's his channel, Mad Mike Network. And I jumped in the chat with them, and I was saying, I heard Coach talking about, it's about contracts and it's about this and that. And BlackBerry's about to hit the roof. And I don't blame him for getting ready to hit the roof, because I was like, bruh, bump a contract, bump all of that. I don't care how many snaps you got to play your fullback. We need dubs, bro.
Yeah. So pretty much my thing is, but whoever has the hot hand,
feed them.
Feed them.
Feed them.
Fuck the media. Fuck the fans. Fuck everybody. Fuck Arthur Blank too. You do you. Do you. That's all I'm gonna leave out with.
All right, bro, man. I appreciate you jumping in, man. I'm gonna go ahead and let somebody jump in, bro. But I appreciate it. Like I said, they got to see what we talk about behind the scenes. That I told them they finna see how Jew really be going at it when we talk about it. Because like I told you, this episode is called Jew Tired. I'm tired of it. About any means necessary. I'm tired. I'm tired of I'm tired of talking. When, like I said, when your parents say that, something finna shake. I'm tired of all of this foolishness. Get the job done. I don't want to hear no excuses. Everybody got a reason, but the results of what's gonna matter at the end of the day. Nobody want to hear them excuses. Get it done.
By any means necessary, y'all. By any means necessary. I can't even say run the damn ball no more. I just say by any means necessary right now. But,
hey man, get
it done. Get it done, boy. All right, I'm out. All right, I'll let you get your show back.
All right, bro.
All right.
Hey man, what's going on? What you got for the show, man? We kind of got on our little tangent. What's going on,
man? I joined in and I stepped away for a minute. I was like, "Oh, I'm on." Like I literally just stepped back, so I was away for a minute, man.
Are you good? So I just brought you on because we kind of got carried away a little bit, but it's cool. Like, they got to see behind the scenes, man, and what the heavy hitters talk about. But I was just talking about, Juden kind of went on his little tangent because I told you I'm tired, man. I'm tired of the losing. I'm tired of the foolishness, and I'm ready.
We all are.
People to step up.
This Sunday, the fact we're even saying this, against a 1-8 Arizona team, I think it's embarrassing and it's frustrating. But at the end of the day, man, we gotta win this game. We have to win this game, man. if we go into this bye 4-6, and granted, they're not going to fire Arthur Smith at this bye week. We know they're not, because 4-6, and even if the Saints win Sunday, if we were to come out and win versus them, theoretically, we'd only be a game back in the division. So they're not going to fire him just because they're going to look at it from that standpoint. But we have to win this game Sunday, because if we don't win this game, it's basically just going to be 2 weeks of talking about something we know is not going to happen, but we want it to happen anyway, and that's just going to make it frustrating. So we got to come out and we got to win this game. I think as far as, because I did catch some of the conversation what y'all were talking about with the offense, to me, honestly, it really feels like that this year's offense versus last year's offense. Last year, with less talent, you knew what we were going to do, and we were more efficient with it. We were going to run the damn ball, and there was no stopping us. Teams knew what we were going to do, and they could not stop us. This year, we're trying to, honestly, to me, I don't think we have an identity with this offense. We have...
I don't mean to cut you off. Go ahead with your statement. I'm going to bring another one on. So if you see somebody else pop on,
it's all
keep
good.
talking.
We have, as you guys said, too many. What's up, Dirty? What's up, man?
What's going on, buddy?
We have too many pieces, groceries, as y'all said, that we're trying to get the ball to. Bijan, and the thing is, everyone's talking about Bijan. Algier isn't even getting enough carries as he should. Drake London isn't getting the ball enough as he should. Kyle Pitts, that's the reality when you have too many stars on offense, or at least what the national media might present as stars. But at the end of the day, I look at Arthur Smith sometimes and some of the stuff that we're doing, and I'm like, what are you thinking? Like, seriously, what are you thinking? I mean, he is overthinking it. And I do think, I mean, he might be a great guy, but I just think he is too stubborn as a head coach in a lot of these spots. He's trying to prove a point. Like, yeah, no, this isn't about fantasy football. This is about winning games. And you have to do the common sense things. Punt when you are down at the 1 yard line. You should be going at it with Tyler Algier 4 straight times against that opposing defense to just punch it in. It's not running
sideways, not running jet sweeps and running sideways, running downhill, period. If you get stopped, you get stopped. But guess what? Football's about what? I keep saying it. The trenches, moving another man against his will, pushing up against another guy and moving him off his spot, taking over your spot, taking that territory. That's what it's about. So you're completely right, man. I completely agree with you. We're getting way too cute, and we overthink. Like I said, we're overthinking it. It's one thing to be, like he said, I'm trying to be creative. It's one thing about being creative, but then it's one thing if you just doing too much. When you're on the 1 yard line, and that's why we're seeing these mental mistakes, as you were talking about. That's why we're seeing these mental mistakes. But I want to also let 330 jump in here too, man. Go ahead and jump in here with us, man.
All right, what's going on, guys? You know what? Remember last week when I came up here, and I didn't give no prediction. I told you I was concerned about them Vikings coming to town and how we were going to play. Yep. And the reason why I said that was because I think we've gotten back to 4 years ago. Well, I have. My mindset is what's going to happen that we're going to lose this game. That I'm back to that mindset. The Vikings came to town with a rookie quarterback. Okay. I'm thinking we might have a chance. Then he got hurt. Mm-hmm. So then they bring in, I call Dobbs. I don't know if you guys old enough to remember Johnny Neutron.
No,
they brought Johnny Neutron in the game.
Oh, man.
And this guy, between him and the coach, they pulled off a win. So I'm saying all that to say this. It's not about football right now. It's about a mindset. Because I'm thinking that this team is starting, even though we're star-studded in all our positions, especially our skill position,
Right.
they're starting to lose the confidence that they can beat their opponent.
I
Yeah,
agree
I
with
don't.
you.
Arthur Smith needs to reevaluate himself, come up with a strategy and stick with it. Not pass 1 week, not run 1 week. You're changing quarterbacks. You're holding one of your players out. And that was the only game that he really stuck to the run game this season when Bijan wasn't in the game.
Yeah.
With CP and Algier. So I think Arthur Smith needs to go in this game, come up with a strategy, and stick with it. And my advice is to go back to the run.
Mm-hmm. If we're being honest, the defense don't trust the offense, and the offense don't trust the defense. The
That's what I'm
confidence
talking
is
about.
dwindling in that locker room. And when you put it in that perspective, it's almost like Bijan is in some type of way a liability, which he should not be. Bijan should be a very valuable asset, but we're trying to do too much with Bijan to where we're sacrificing the very identity of our football team, which is ground and pound with Tyler Algier. Obviously CP started off the year banged up.
Right.
You should have been phasing him back in slowly. And you saw in that Tampa Bay game when there was no Bijan, it looked like a 2022 Falcons game.
Exactly.
Ugly, but we found a way to win.
Yeah, that's my point. That's what I mentioned about the last drive last week. You seen when they just went to Algier and just went with a fullback back there and they just went downhill. They couldn't stop it. They couldn't stop it. We looked like the last 2 years, and that's what I thought this year was going to look like. And I said this last week, and I want to get you guys' thoughts on Taylor Heinicke because I already mentioned it earlier, but that was my reason of why I didn't like the benching of Desmond Ridder either, is because I said this last week. Now what do? Now that you lost this game, and then say, God forbid we lose this game or he doesn't play well. This is a close game because we can win this game, but it still looked like a close game. And this is a 1-8 team. What do you do at the bye week? Because he stated that I'm gonna make a decision at the bye week with the quarterback position. But to me, I feel like the first move for this team of losing confidence was when he went away from Desmond Ridder.
I'll go ahead and say that there was not a single difference from what I saw in Taylor Heinicke and Desmond Ridder, other than Heinicke did throw the ball away in spots where, yeah, Ridder probably would have taken a sack. But other than that, Ridder probably would have done the exact same thing Heinicke did in that game last Sunday versus Minnesota. And when Arthur Smith went to Taylor Heinicke from Desmond Ridder, he backed himself into a corner because now, okay, you have used this young man, this quarterback who has started 12 games as your scapegoat. So now you're going to bring a guy in who is a veteran, who you pretty much know. What we saw on Sunday was a vintage Taylor Heinicke game, and honestly, you're probably not getting anything much better from Heinicke. But you used him as a scapegoat, and you brought in a guy who you pretty much know what you're going to get out of. And you still lost. You were still making boneheaded decisions at the 1 yard line. So who's the issue? It's you.
And I want to get
Well,
OG, what you feel about that,
yeah,
OG? What did you see out
yeah.
of the last week? Taylor Heinicke, what did you think about him?
I'm so focused on the coaching, man, the play calling, and just like I said, it's not even about football right now. There pretty much was no difference between Heinicke and Ridder, but I do have a little bit more confidence in Heinicke, though. I'm just gonna be honest with you because of his resume. I've seen him beat us twice, so I know that he can at least orchestrate a little bit better than he don't get shook up. Put it like that. Ridder was shook up, man. Ridder was shell shocked. and he started making more and more little simple mistakes that we thought that he wouldn't make.
So
So
at this, we turn back to him though, because see, that's my issue. It's like once you step away from him, to me, it's no going back to that. Like he's saying, like I might go back to it, but I'm like, how can you?
I mean, what would be the difference though?
That's my point. Like that's the point why I wouldn't have went away from it, because I feel like it's what he said. He backed himself into a corner. I feel like.
Well, I don't think at this point it makes a difference. If he wants to go back to Ritter, it's not gonna make any difference if we're playing bad, if the plays are bad.
It won't.
Yeah.
I'll go ahead and say, Taylor Heinicke, as I said, you pretty much know what you're going to get out of him.
Right.
With that being said, who does he name the starter coming out of the bye? I think part of that probably does depend on how Sunday goes, but honestly, is it really going to make much of a difference if you're not sticking to your identity? Now, Ritter, he looked very shook at times. And, I think this is something where do we see, whether, depending on what this decision is coming out the bye or not, do we see Ritter again? Who knows? But I just think the bottom line is, man, it's not going to matter as long as you're making the boneheaded decisions, because we are a ground and pound football team. And if you're not, using a three-headed monster, and let's be honest, Tyler Algier, a lot of people are getting on for saying Bijan should be the goal line back. Tyler Algier should be our goal line back. He is. He's the most physical guy in there. He will push the pile himself to get in for a touchdown. Bijan is more of your Christian McCaffrey role, Marshall Faulk. He's not going to run an entire defense over for a touchdown. You have to get him out in space and have him making plays. But getting back to this quarterback thing for a second, my stance is I would rather see something out of the guy I don't know as much about in Ritter versus who I do know in Heinicke. But one way or another now, how's it going to turn out now? So I honestly, at this point, they're not confident in either of those guys. Let's face it, this is a team that should make the playoffs. If we don't make the playoffs, he needs to be going at the end of the year. I'm referring to Arthur Smith. So that's why I say I truly, honestly do think he does roll with Heinicke coming out the bye, but obviously a lot of that depends on how tomorrow goes.
Yeah, I agree with you, man. And that's why I say I even hate it, because it's like I don't want to see, like, almost like you want Taylor Heinicke not to play well for Ritter to get back in there. I don't want to see it have to come to that. You know what I'm saying? But I do think that there's a difference. And my difference is what you were saying. I don't know what Desmond Ritter is. I really feel like a lot of that shaking up we seen out of Desmond Ritter was bad play calling. Like a lot of those sacks that we saw against the Tennessee Titans, when I went and watched that clip that Kurt Warner broke down, those plays he broke down, we literally are leaving defensive ends unblocked. They're coming clean, getting clean hits on the quarterback. Like, that don't make sense. That'll shake up any quarterback, because you got guys coming from the blind spot unblocked. Like, you getting this guy blown up. That'll have any. I don't care if you're a veteran. That could be Tom Brady himself.
Yeah,
if you
Kurt Warner said on one of them, I'm taking a sack.
Yeah, exactly. He said I'm gonna take one too.
Yeah. And if you get hit enough, you're gonna be jittery. You're gonna get shaken up. Like when they say they thought he had a concussion at one point, I thought he did have a concussion, because if we go back and watch that game, he was getting crushed. He was getting creamed. But it's like it wasn't because of him. He's getting creamed because I'm looking at these plays like we got guys literally with their back turned running 10, 15 yards downfield, ain't turned around to even look for the ball. He's sitting there in the pocket, patting the ball, looking for somebody to go to. Everybody's like, but this away. Well, that's intentional grounding. He's not outside the pocket, so you can't just throw it out of bounds. And you don't want to necessarily just chuck it down the field either. So I really feel like we keep saying the common denominator is Arthur Smith and Dave Ragone, whoever's helping call these plays. They're the common denominator. And my issue is they're not doing any favors to either one of the quarterbacks, Taylor Heinicke or Desmond Ritter, because if you go back to your bread and butter and y'all go back and look at my channel, I've been saying this for years. the trenches, the trenches, the trenches. If you go back to your bread and butter, the last 2 seasons, Arthur Smith run the football. If he runs the football, that helps your quarterback. A good defense in the run game helps your quarterback.
That's why, man. Right now, I'm just on the fence. You know, I'm not until we get the confidence back. Until we get confident play calling, it don't matter who you were going to have in the game. Running the team. Arthur Smith got to get himself together, man. I kind of feel bad for him, really, because he's shooting himself in the foot.
Yeah, I don't feel bad for him because he's doing it to himself. I told him I'm tired. You know, see, you old school. You know, when your parents say I'm tired of talking. I'm tired.
Yeah.
That's what I am with this team, man, with Arthur. I'm tired because I seen this coming. I told you what did I say last week when I said, okay, well, you make this change and you lose. I said this last week. I seen it coming.
Yeah.
I said, if you lose this game, I told you I'm tempering down my expectations and my confidence because we went into that Titans game like, oh yeah, we got this, and we lost. So last week I said you made that quarterback change, graded and got injured. All that happened in 1 week. I said,
right.
I knew right then, like when you was just saying, OG, I said the same thing last week. When I seen Dobbs get in the game and the game started getting close, I started looking like, how are we going to mess this game up?
How we going to mess it up?
Yeah. Like, oh boy, here we go again. Here we go again with this fluky stuff. And that's why I say
that's
you don't
a
let
typical thought of a Falcons fan. How are we going to mess this thing up?
Hey, look, if you go back and look at that last drive before Algier scored, the play before he scored, do you know Arthur Smith actually had took the fullback out of the game and tried to run it?
I believe.
And I'm sitting there. I went to the game. I was sitting there and I said, why isn't the fullback in the game? Arthur Smith tried something and it didn't work. And then Fitz went back out there, and that's when Algier scored.
Yeah.
I'm like, this guy, he took the fullback out. He must have reloading that shotgun.
Yeah, but see, that's when you say I feel bad for him, I don't feel bad for him because you seen what works. In Tennessee, you know what worked when you ran downhill. Tennessee, that's what made you successful. When you came here in Atlanta with CP, nobody expected CP to be anything. He came here and got in this organization, did the same, ran the same schemes he ran in Tennessee, running downhill, and made a name for himself here in Atlanta with CP. And Tyler Algier came in, rookie, rushed for 1,000 yards. That was the reason I kept saying all offseason we didn't need Bijan Robinson. If you guys go back and look at the heavy hitters, all of our stuff pre-draft, we said this team don't need another running back. You already got a two-headed monster. What do you need with a Bijan Robinson? And we were completely right, because if you look at this team, all that did with getting Bijan Robinson was took this team off of the path that they were on as far as running the plays that they were running. Because if you notice, a lot of times when Bijan is back there, they don't run him a lot of times with a lead blocker. If you notice that, when you say he had took the lead blocker out, for whatever reason, they don't like to have a lead blocker out there with when they have Bijan out there. And I really feel like that's why we've seen the changes in the type of plays that we run is because of Bijan Robinson. So I feel like getting Bijan Robinson diverted this team from going with what worked, period. That whole pick took this team off of what they were doing. I want to put it on Bijan Robinson because it ain't his fault for being drafted here. I love the kid. He's a great explosive athlete. He's a great kid. He's just not being used in the right way. I feel like they tried to, just like I told you, they handed the keys to Desmond Ridder. I feel like when he came into this organization, they tried to hand the keys to Bijan Robinson, but he wasn't ready. He wasn't ready.
I didn't agree with that move. But you know what hurt Arthur Smith as far as his running backs? When Caleb Huntley got hurt. Think about it.
Yeah. Oh yeah, because Huntley was another, which, by the way, y'all are talking about feel bad for Arthur Smith or not. I don't feel bad for no son of a billionaire. I cannot feel bad of a son for a billionaire who probably has a trust fund. But talking about Caleb Huntley for a second, because that's a very physical back, another Tyler Algier. I mean, go back and look at some of those games last year. That Cleveland Browns game early last year to me was honestly the game where the Atlanta Falcons established their identity.
Right.
That was the game I look at where it's like, oh, This ain't those old Falcons with you're going to have Matt Ryan, Julio, Calvin Ridley, Roddy White. We're going to ground and pound it. It's going to look ugly, but we're going to find a way to win. And we've gotten away from that so much to where it's now it's so hard to watch this offense with so many flashy pieces.
And you're trying to be something that's not, because his scheme does not fit all of a sudden that we're going to be a passing team and we're going to use, you did use CP in different ways, but this team was a grinded out downhill running team, and you went to Bijan Robinson. Now it's a lot of tosses and all these different, like I said, it's nothing wrong with Bijan Robinson. Bijan Robinson, like I said, he should be used like Tony Pollard was used with Ezekiel Elliott. He's the changer pace back. That's how you should be using. He's a scat back. He's not a guy that you want to run 20 to 30 times. Like all these people that's talking about fantasy, that's not who Bijan Robinson is, that you just give him 20 to 30 carries in a game. He's not a workhorse type of running back. He's a guy where you give him and you use him in different ways, but he's a guy that's a change of pace. You should be using Tyler Algier and CP to hammer these defensive lines.
I guarantee you, boy, by the third quarter, if you got a good dose of CP and Algier, they don't want none of that. They don't want none of them running backs into the third quarter and into the fourth quarter.
Nope.
Don't even warm down. We seen that last year. The same thing with Caleb Huntley. He was a one-cut downhill running back. Like I said, and that's what this team is made of. Derrick Henry is one cut. We seen it a couple weeks ago. He one cut downhill.
To see what I'm thinking, what happened with Arthur Smith, because I'm like you. We didn't need Bijan. We didn't need to draft Bijan early. But what Arthur Smith was looking for was that last element that Algier and Caleb Huntley didn't get him. They didn't have breakaway speed.
I agree.
Derrick Henry had with the total package.
He can do everything. He's CP.
He can do everything.
But Bijan ain't built like Derrick Henry.
And he wanted Bijan for the breakaway plays. But what they don't realize is by the time Derrick Henry got past the linebackers, he had the speed. Our running backs are not even getting past the linebackers.
No.
Bijan, he got the move, but they're learning how to play him.
Yeah.
Because everybody in the pros are good.
Oh yeah. Everybody in the pros are good, and the speed of the game is different. Like you said, like they're looking at what he was in college. Don't get me wrong, and I see it in the chat. Somebody saying like Bijan gonna be a superstar. Bijan is special. He remind me of like a Marshall Faulk. My problem with him is they're trying to feed him, or to me, they're trying to feature him too much, and they're going away from what their identity of the team is. That's my problem with them. How they using Bijan. Bijan is not the problem. The coaching staff is the problem because they're not using him in the correct manner. If they use him in the correct manner, go look at Tony Pollard for the Cowboys. That's who he reminds me of. Tony Pollard last year was special, but what did the Cowboys just do last season? What messed up their running game? They let Zeke go, who was their battering ram, and they went to Tony Pollard as their number one running back. And go look at Tony Pollard's stats now. He don't look like the same back he was last year because he don't have. No. They're putting too much on his plate. He's not a between the tackles runner. He's a guy that, like I said, he's a change of pace running back. And they're using him in the wrong way as well now. So now he's not even putting up the production he had.
I've always kind of thought Bijan should be a 13 to 17 carry a game guy. But also another thing too that I haven't seen much of, and I could be wrong. I haven't seen him in the slot much. And what do we see now? Granted, training camp is training camp, but what do we see? That speed in the slot. Why aren't you utilizing that? Especially now. You don't see, we could realistically, honestly have Drake London, Kyle Pitts, Bijan Robinson, CP, and Tyler Algier all on the field at the same time. That is a nightmare for opposing defenses. Someone's going to break loose.
Yeah. I think the problem is, go ahead.
I guarantee you, if you had a fullback in the game with Bijan, and that fullback has interference at the line, Bijan will get some yards. Because Bijan is coming to the line, and he's got to make the first guy miss the defense tackle, defense end. Instead of him having a blocker up there where he can run off the blocker, he's got to make that guy miss, and all the linebackers doing is waiting.
That's it.
I'm gonna make you. We're gonna what they call it. like a pack of hyenas. We gonna make you run to the other hyenas.
Yeah, we're gonna set the edge. We're gonna force you to go to where all the traffic coming.
But if he had a fullback in there with him, I guarantee you he'll break one.
I agree with you.
He gonna come through that hole wide open. And the corners ain't got a chance once he get out there.
The first game, his first carry against the Panthers, he almost hit a home run. They had a lead blocker back there. That's what he needs. Like, that's what our offense is made of. Keith Smith and Fisk, those guys, you seen it last week. When we went to those 2-back set, they could not stop it because up front, our offensive line going to hold up their end of the bargain. The problem is like what you just said. They're bringing extra guys down in the box, so it's always somebody unblocked.
Somebody's unblocked.
Somebody missed. By the time you do that little juke move, the other guys, the traffic then came. Now it's other guys that they're gonna force you back to their help.
You know, you want to know something that I'm really thinking about now. We're talking about Keith Smith and Fisk. Not really. Is Parker Hesse still on the practice squad?
I think he's injured. He was injured at one point.
Injured. Well, one way or another, because
he's still on this team.
They decided that we were going to favor and put John Fitzpatrick on the 53 over Parker Hesse. You should have put Parker Hesse on that 53 because, man, that is another one that, I mean, he was very valuable last year, and no one talked about it. And run blocking.
Yeah, he's special. But that's those glue guys that we talking about. Like you said, we have all of these Ferraris and Porsches, but you got to have them guys that's going to get out and do that dirty work at the end of the day. And that's what Keith Smith and Fisk, those guys do that dirty work. And even Tyler Algier, like you said, if one guy's unblocked, I'm not really worried when I see Tyler Algier because I know he's going to run through one guy. But Bijan, you can't expect him to do that. He's going to try to make somebody miss. And once you make that one miss, the speed of the NFL, these guys going to close on you fast.
Right. And see, Algier knows that. He knows. He knows. So look, if you got to reach your arm out, you're not gonna get me, and I'm not gonna juke. I'm not gonna slow down or nothing. So then, then that guy's got to make a business decision. Am I gonna get my arm snatched out of the socket, or am I just gonna try to hit him and slow him down?
Exactly.
But with Bijan, they know Bijan is gonna chop them feet, and then the linebackers and the edge setters are gonna get him.
Yeah, I completely agree with you. But like I said, I was just talking when I was saying what Kay was up here. That's a mindset. Like he talked about guys like Beast Mode, Marshawn Lynch, even Cordell Patterson. And I think that's why Cordell Patterson has some success. And you were talking about this. Cordell Patterson has that speed where if he hits the second level, he can outrun a linebacker or a safety or corner. And that's why he had success because he was like a baby Derrick Henry. He hit that second level because he's a returner. He understands gaps. He understands how to cut, but he also understands, okay, I'm not going to be able to cut this time. I'm going to have to lower my pad level, and I'm going to have to lay somebody out.
And get me 2 more yards.
Bijan ain't learned that yet. Bijan, if you notice, Bijan ain't really ran nobody over. That ain't his game.
No,
he hasn't.
That's not his game.
Okay, I got to be, get a little physical. He's not going to lower his
head.
Get
him in space. Get him in space, one-on-one versus a corner, linebacker, or safety. That's what it is. And then he can make a miss there and you could potentially have a house call. But when he's running through the front seven, especially when there's no fullback leading him, it's not going to end well.
No, it's not. It's not. And that's why, like we said, he needs to get a fullback back there with Bijan. Because that'll eliminate the extra person that's in the box. And once you do that, we know that Bijan can hit the home run, but we need that extra blocker in the backfield that'll take out that one extra guy that's sitting in the box, so you can give Bijan that opportunity. He'll hit that home run, like you're saying. We haven't did it. And like I said, that's coaching and that's scheme. That's why I say I don't want to hear nothing else. Like I keep saying, I'm tired. When I get tired, I'm tired of talking because we done said this 3 weeks straight that this is what this team need to do, and Arthur Smith acting like he don't know what to do. When it's like, dude, go look at what you had success doing before. Like I said this in my video I made like maybe earlier this week when I talked about Arthur Smith. I said, you got to go back to what you did well, what got you this job. What got you this job here in Atlanta was in Tennessee, those teams were great at scoring in the red zone. We're not even doing that well, and that's why we hired you. So That's why I say he's getting looked at like he got the target on his back, because it's like, when you're not doing what you were hired for, guess what's coming next? A pink slip. When you're not doing why we brought you here to put up points, and we brought you here because you were efficient in the red zone in Tennessee, and then we're not efficient in the red zone here in Atlanta, well, then we're going to start looking at you. I'm not looking at nobody but Arthur Smith at this point.
Right.
I'm looking like, bruh, if you show me you can do it in Tennessee, there's no difference from doing it here. And I seen you do it the last 2 years here before you had all of these players that you got now. So I'm like, there's no excuse for it. You know what I'm saying? It's no excuse. Like I said, I'm done making excuses for them. I'm done protecting them. Like I said, I'm tired. I'm done talking about it, because I keep going back and forth of, I'm going to try to help, and we got to be patient. But then when I see, well, y'all done said Ritter ain't it, we got to move on, we got to do this, we got to make these changes. But then
You know what?
K talk.
You
Go
talk
ahead.
about that. Let's look at who his two quarterbacks were in Tennessee. Mariota and okay, we understand that connection. Ryan Tannehill. Now, he saved Ryan Tannehill's career and salvaged out the most of it. Obviously, Ryan Tannehill, he's on the bench now, but he salvaged Ryan Tannehill's career only having him throw, 11, 12 times in the games that mattered. Why were you going out there and telling Desmond Ritter, go win us the game? Why are you trying to get Taylor Heineke 30, 40 pass attempts a game? No, it needs to be under 20 pass attempts and get the fullback back there, ground and pound, ugly football, long 9-10 minute drives, and they finish off in 6-7 points because we know Koo's automatic.
Yeah, I agree with you. But that's what we go back to. What we've been saying is like, that's on coaching. That ain't got nothing to do with the players. That's all Arthur Smith. That's why I said I'm done making excuses. I'm sitting back now watching as a fan, like, all right, Arthur Smith, let's see what you're going to call here. Like you said, I'm cool with getting stopped at the one, getting stuffed. If we go up the gut or we go behind the fullback and Tyler Algier get a chance to carry it. If he gets stopped and we mono, I can live with that. What I can't live with is these tricks and then running sideways, and we doing that, then I'm saying you beating yourself. But if you go in there with your best play and it don't work, I can live with that. That's why I keep saying my problem is we trying to change who we are. We like chameleons. We trying to change with the climate instead of being who we are. Be who you are. If you're a run team and you go out here and you attempt 30 plus runs a game and we lose that way, I'm fine with it. But when I see us trying to change who we are, that's when I get upset, because now that look like dysfunction. Now that's telling me, like I've been saying, we throwing stuff to the wall and let's see what stick. We don't know who we are. We just trying to figure out instead of doing what we know to do. That's why I said I'm done making excuses. Ain't no more excuses. This team is 1-7 or 1-8, whatever their record is. This should be a W. Period.
Yeah, you're right. But as we know, any given Sunday.
Any given Sunday. Yeah, we're going to see tomorrow.
There can never be an automatic W for the Falcons, never. I mean, realistically, let's speak about it. This is a game the Falcons lose. Let's call it for what it is.
I got, like I said, my cup is always Sunday. Yeah, my cup is always half full. I'm always believing that the Falcons are going to win. I don't never go into it with a negative mindset or thinking that we're going to lose. Even when I was like, man, like I was telling you, man, how can this thing go wrong? The only reason I was on the edge of my seat is because that game should have never even came down to Josh Dobbs, scrambling and all of that. That game should have been over. Let's just be real. If Bijan don't fumble that ball and if Taylor Heineke don't throw that interception, you're not even in that situation. And if you score touchdowns in the red zone the 4 times you were down there in the first half, you're not even in that situation. Let's just be real about it.
He didn't learn nothing from them 4 field goals.
Nothing.
I mean, I'm like, come on. You settling for field goals?
Well, as a matter of fact, he did learn something. He didn't learn it until the end of the game when it was too late. He learned it when we scored with Tyler Algier, but the problem was we left too much time on the clock. And then he went down and scored. He learned, but he waited to the 4th quarter to say, okay, put a fullback back there. Let's get a ball to Tyler Algier. Let's take Bijan out. But he waited to the 9th hour when you should have been doing that in the first half. You know what I'm saying? Like, the game was over. Yeah, this game would have been over. They would have had probably 3-4 touchdowns. It would have been over when he came down to that. Our starter should have been on the bench in the 4th quarter last week. Let's just be real about it.
Right.
We literally had the defense, Lorenzo Carter, run us down to the 1 yard line, and we didn't score a touchdown on that drive. That's just sad. That's sad. When Ebiketie strip sack fumble on Dobbs when he first got in the game, Lorenzo Carter scooped and ran it down to the 1 yard line, and we didn't score a touchdown on that drive.
What was he supposed to do? Get the extra yard and score the touchdown as well?
Yeah, it's ridiculous. I mean, that's a drive you score on. That's why I say that's coaching.
Yeah.
That's coaching. That got nothing to do with the players. That got everything to do with the coach. Like I said, at this point, I'm tired. I'm just watching, and I'm telling you, the coach, he got a big target on his back because he did it to himself. You did it. Like I said, I don't feel bad for him because at the end of the day, you know what made you successful. You know what got you the job here in Atlanta. Do what made you successful. His dad is a billionaire or whatever. He owned FedEx. I'm sure his dad got principles that he learned, and he uses those same principles today. So it's the same thing that goes with football. Do what made you successful. Go back to your blueprint of what made you successful. What won you games last year when you had hardly no talent. Go back to it. You know what I'm saying? It ain't like you ain't got them tapes. Go pull that film back out or pull that tablet back out. Go look at them same plays and go run it. And go back into this last game, that last drive. We should come out doing the same thing we did last week at the end of the game with Tyler Algier. We should start this game doing the same exact thing. Should be no reason why you should go away. And that's what bothers me about this team. It's like he'll see something that worked at one point in one of the other games, but we'll start the next game doing the same thing we did in the previous game. We'll come out throwing the ball. We'll come out doing play action legs when we know that didn't work. We'll come out without a fullback. If I see that tomorrow, I'm going to be hot. You know what I'm saying? Because I'm looking like, bro, you just seen it work at the end of the game last week. To be honest,
and they knew we were going to run.
To be honest, Tyler Algier should start this game. If we being frank about it, he should start this game. Shouldn't be Bijan Robinson back there. It should be Tyler Algier because he showed that he was the remedy to some of them problems we were having. And that's why I did the video on Cordell Patterson. Cordell Patterson is like, talking about I still do this and stuff like that. He putting them videos and them clips on social media because he's like, why are we not doing this stuff? He basically showed a clip of him running against the Bucs. Like, we should be running these same plays.
Right.
We just did
until they stop.
Until they stop it. Until they figure us out. We need to go back to it. That's why, like, he posted it, and then he gonna come back out saying, like, I'm not saying that I need the ball, and me and Arthur Smith, we have a great relationship. You put that on social media, and I said, don't worry, CP, I say it for you. I know you got to be politically correct, but I don't. Right. I don't get the Falcons ain't giving me no paycheck, so I'm gonna say it for you.
Right, exactly.
Ball, bro. Give CP the ball. We know what CP capable of. He earned his stripes the last 2 years. Y'all re-signed him for a reason. Give him the ball. It ain't CP and Algier fault that y'all drafted Bijan Robinson. That's y'all problem to figure out where y'all gonna find his snaps. And I would go to his office. That's y'all. It ain't my problem. I'm gonna have to figure out where his snaps coming from. But he shouldn't be taking food off our plate. I'm just being real. No. Like, it sounds selfish, but that's the real. If you a superstar on a team and then you bring in another superstar, it ain't my problem to figure out where his food and his success gonna come from. That ain't my problem. That's y'all problem. Y'all created this problem. I didn't create it. So my problem, it's like CP.
He created another problem.
That's what I'm saying. That ain't have nothing to do with CP and Algier. So that's why I say I don't feel like what CP was saying was being selfish. Any good player is gonna want the ball. If my superstar ain't telling me to get him the ball, there's a problem. You know what I'm saying? A real problem. I want CP saying, I want to see him on the sideline saying, Coach, give me the ball. I'm going to make a play. That's what I like to see. I like to see guys like Terrell Owens. Like, people say, I hate to see people that's like calling for the ball and malcontent. No, I like to see a player because that showed me that they care. When they saying, I can make a play, give me the rock, you ain't got to be, kicking nets and doing a lot of stuff that Odell Beckham was doing, throwing your helmet. You ain't got to be doing all that. But you need to go and say, look, give me the ball. I'm going to make a play. Michael Jordan, when he was out there on the court, he said, give me the ball. I'm going to make something happen. Kobe Bryant said, give me the ball and get out my way. That's what I want to see. I see CP and Algier, like, give me the balls. When you saw that last drive with Tyler Algier, he showed us, like, that was a give me the ball moment and everybody get out my way. If anybody get in my way, I'm running through their face. I don't care. Just give me the rock and I get it. Yeah, that's what he did. Whether it was a block in front of him or not, he was running through anything in front of him. That's what we need to see. That's a mentality. And that's why I put, this is Falcons football. I put that on social media. When I seen him score that time, I said, now that drive was Falcons football. Run that ball down their throat. Period. Don't get cute. Run that ball. That's what we do. Now, until somebody stop it, as you say, OG, run the ball until they stop it. If they can't stop it, go back to that well. Stop going to that dry well. Go to that well that they can't stop. So like I said, we're going to know early in tomorrow's game, we're going to see, are we seeing a fullback? Are we seeing Tyler Algier? Because if we go through another half when I don't see Tyler Algier get but like one carry, him and CP, I'm going to know right then and there we on that bull. know right then.
Right
that
then.
Foolish, it's going to be a close game. And I'm going to know right then.
It shouldn't be a close game, though. You know, if you go by the analytics.
Nah, it shouldn't be. But if we come out doing the same stuff, we come out there
we'll
without
find a way to make it close.
That's what I'm saying. We come out there doing that nonsense. Like I said, I'm going to know from the first drive. If I don't see no fullback and I don't see no runs for Tyler Algier or CP, I'm going to know right then and there they ain't learned from the error of their ways. And that's what y'all going to see me say. I'm tired. Like I've been saying, I'm tired of trying to make up excuses and make up. Because we making football tougher than it is. We trying to figure out, well, what's going on in the analytics and this and this. It ain't that tough. Do what works, period. If it worked, go back to it. If you look at the Eagles do the same stuff. They don't. Like we keep talking about this push they going. They do it every game.
They is telling them, stop it. It's not illegal. Stop it. You know what we're going to do. 4th and 1, we're doing the push. Stop it. That's all we can say. Stop it.
I can't. No one can.
Now, what if they went away from that? We'll be looking at them
4th
like,
and
what
1, 4th and 1, you look, I go over there to the other team and say 4th and 1, you know we're finna run 3 times, don't you?
Right.
Stop it. We're gonna run 3 times. If we don't get it, we don't get it. But we're not gonna do nothing sexy. Because that's not our team. We don't have a sexy team.
And that shows you what? It shows you that we're not confident. When I see a team go away from what they do, that tells me that they didn't believe in the first place. If I know my team is a run downhill team, and then they go away from that, what that tells me is they thought they was going to get stopped. That's what that tells me.
Right.
But the way you see confidence in your offensive line and your team, you say, like you said, we getting ready to run it 4 times. I hope y'all know that, right? We not kicking
hope y'all know that.
Right. Stop us.
Just stop it. Especially if it's early. But you know what? The crazy part about that is if you got a fullback in the game and it's 4th and 1 or 1st and goal or 3rd and 1, you can always get a ball to the fullback too now.
That's what Kay was saying. Get a ball to Keith Smith. But the problem is we want to, like Arthur Smith is saying in these press conferences, we don't care about fantasy. Well, we must care about it because everything we're doing is the opposite. If you guys notice, and that's why I said we're letting the media pressure us into, they told us Desmond Ridder won't it. Okay, let's move off of him. Okay, they telling me that I'm not giving Bijan Robinson enough touches. Let's get him the ball. Who cares what everybody else say? Do what makes your team successful. Because if you win, guess what? That's going to shut up all of that stuff they talking about. Bill Belichick, the media hates Bill Belichick, but guess what? He got them rings. He got them trophies. So he did it his way. And that's why I keep saying with Arthur Smith, do it your way. I don't care if the media likes you. We want you to win. I don't care who like you. I don't care nothing about none of that. I care about success, period.
But let me ask you, both of y'all this, because I don't do the DraftKings and all of that. But I wonder how much pressure was put on Arthur Smith by not playing Bijan that game, and that one the one betting site had to actually refund money back, because I would have said that based off of the scheme that I had for the Tampa Bay game, Bijan didn't fit in the scheme, and that's why I didn't hardly play him. That's what I would have said.
Yeah, that's what I would have said. Well, I mean,
I wouldn't have said nothing about no headache. I wouldn't have said nothing about that. I'd have been like, the game scheme that we came up with against that Tampa Bay defense did not call for Bijan's skill set.
Right.
That's why I
agree.
didn't play.
And let's be honest, did it really call for Bijan's skill set? Because look at how it went.
Obviously not.
Nasty, ugly football. But at
Right.
the end of the day, you got CP going, Algier. It wasn't. See, Algier didn't have a pretty stat line that game, but
Right.
he got it going.
And that's what I would have said. I wouldn't have gave them no room to get in my business for why I didn't play Bijan.
Right. Yeah.
They would have never knew about no headache.
Right. Well, my thing was I didn't even understand how. Like, I was upset that they were even bringing it up because I'm like, he played in the game. He just didn't get a lot of snaps, but he was out there. It wasn't like, because they tried to make it out like we lied about on the injury report. They didn't lie on the injury report because he was in full. He was dressed out. He played a couple plays. So to me, the only way that you can say we lied about it is he didn't play at all. I can see if he didn't play at all,
Right.
and we say he was injured or he was sick. Okay, at that point, you got the grounds to say the Falcons are trying to get some type of advantage because we didn't tell y'all that he was sick prior to the game. But he was out there playing. Whether he played
Right.
one snap, he played. You know what I'm saying? He played because he was on the last drive he got in the game. So I'm like, I didn't understand none of that because I'm like, the only way I could see them questioning why Bijan didn't get in is if he didn't play at all. Then that means okay,
Right.
and then we say he's sick. Because then, okay, yeah, you are trying to have some type of advantage because that should have been on the injury report. But for him to actually play, I think he played less than 10 snaps, but he played. To me, once you play one snap, that injury report, none of that should have been questioned if he played one snap in the game. That should have been all taken off out of the equation. They shouldn't even be able to question that.
Yeah.
But
So
go ahead.
they claimed he wasn't feeling well is the thing. He had a little headache or stomach bug or whatever they said, but at the end of the day, you had him in there on the most important drive of the game, the final drive. I mean, it did not make much sense. Granted, you didn't see much of him all game, but you're now going to put him in on the final drive. I mean, that doesn't make sense. Just go ahead and say, listen, the scheme we had and on that day, he really didn't have much of a role to be played. It was a Tyler Algier CP game.
Right.
Exactly.
And that's what I
would
have stuck with.
Yeah, I would have stuck with that too. That was none of their business. But before I'm about to get ready to hop off here. But before we hop off here, I seen Kay jump back in. What's going on, Kay? I'm gonna let you hop back in real quick.
I just wanted to hop back in and tell everybody to hit the like button and subscribe to Jew. This was a good conversation, and like I said, Rua 3 Dirty, shout out to y'all too, man.
Okay.
Yeah, man. I appreciate y'all. I appreciate you jumping in too, K, man. Look, we're gonna do this more often, but now y'all seen the uncut version of Jew, because like I said, the heavy hitters, they see this all the time. I try to keep it cool, calm, and collective, but like I told y'all, I'm tired of it. I'm tired of foolishness. Win a Super Bowl. Like I hear all these people say, I want to win, and we tell the fans all the time, y'all want to win, we want to win too. And losing that Super Bowl in 2016 cut me deep, man. It cut me deep. But at the end of the day, what I want them to do is correct it. That's why I'm so like y'all like that. Juice real passionate today. I'm passionate because I want to see Arthur Smith and them figure it out. I don't want to have to go to a new coaching staff, because guess what? You hitting the reset button. You just putting yourself back a couple more years. And I told Mike and Kay this the other night. I'm tired, and I don't want to have to fire Arthur Smith, fire this whole coaching staff, go through another retool, because we don't know if they're going to want these players that they didn't pick. So now we got to go through the whole reshaping of the team again. And I don't want to see that happen. When I keep saying I'm tired, that's the reason I'm saying I'm tired, because I done seen this all before. I seen it with Dan Quinn. I seen that go spiral out of control. Then I'm seeing this with this team where you have a little bit of success, but instead of standing 10 toes down on what you believe in, that we're a run physical team, you're going to let the media and everybody else tell you how to run your team. And then you're going to start letting this team spiral out of control. And you create all of these problems, as OG was saying. You create all these problems with getting Bijan Robinson, so creating snap problems with guys getting touches. You create a quarterback controversy a quarterback controversy in your locker room that you didn't have to do. So all of this stuff, this is why I say I don't have no remorse for Coach Arthur Smith right now in the situation that they in, because they put themselves in it. So like your parents say, you made this bed, you're gonna lay in it. And that's what I feel about with him. He made this bed, so get yourself out of it. He can get himself out of this problem. This is an easy problem to get himself out of. What he gonna have to do is swallow his pride. You know what I'm saying? So what it's might look like is Bijan might not get as many snaps. So what's that gonna do? It's gonna look bad on our front office because they're gonna be a lot of people gonna be saying, why did they even draft this kid? But so what? If we winning games and it's at his expense, oh well. It is what it is. That's where I'm at with it. It is what it is. If we went, like Kay said earlier, if we got to get a ball to Keith Smith to get wins, it is what it is. I'm not going to be trying to appease certain players and do it a certain win a certain type of way. A win is a win. The Patriots were not cute when they was winning. They would never to me a cute team, but they won. They got the job done. So I'm at the point where by any means necessary, get it done. I'm tired of talking. I'm tired of making excuses because that's all we doing at this point. We've given him any type of reason why they're not getting the job done. But I'm sitting here. I've been watching football long enough to know this is Barney basic stuff that we not doing. You know what I'm saying? This is not rocket science. This is not, we not creative enough. No. Those are excuses. It ain't none of that. The problem is we not doing what worked. That's just it. We see something work and then we decide, are we going to do it another way instead of doing it the way that was working? That's called insanity. You repeating this same, every game I've looked at this season, we doing the same stuff. We turning the ball over. We doing the same stuff over. We're not using fullbacks when we know we need to be. We not running CP and Tyler Algier. We doing the same. We spinning our wheels. As Kay said, that same little rat on the wheel, acting like we going somewhere. We doing the same exact thing over and over and over again. And then we get up here every Saturday talking about the same stuff. I keep coming on these shows, after shows, talking about the same problems. And like I said, I'm tired of it. I'm to be honest with you. I'm tired, man. I'm tired of keep saying this. I done said that so many times on the show. I'm tired of foolishness. That's foolish. I told my wife, I'm watching this game. How it's gonna turn out. I'm tired.
I'm about to say, look, I'm about to say, y'all don't know, man. Me and Mike had to give Drew a therapy session after that game. I'm telling you.
They were talking to me like 2 hours. They probably got tired of me. I was like, it don't make sense. And Mike them know I was standing 10 toes down. This don't make sense. So I said, when I do this show today, I'm gonna let the people know how I really feel about it because I'm tired of talking and saying the same stuff, and I'm not seeing no movement. I want to elevate, but I feel like what Kay said, I told Kay he had to say it again. He said it best. We are that wheel that's sitting in one spot. We acting like we going somewhere, but we just in the same little motion, doing the same thing. And you were just talking about it earlier. How many times have we seen our Falcons team lose games right at the end? And we just going in this same little motion. From the Super Bowl until now, we see this same, the game is close. We keeping games close for no reason. We doing dumb stuff. We letting teams hang around. And then it turns out that it's a loss. And then we sitting there holding the bag. As fans looking like, bruh, really? And then they want to
the thing is the Falcons have been losing games in that fashion long before the Super Bowl. It's just the Super Bowl. That was the epitome of it. And now it's just, we're looking at it at this point. How are we going to screw it up this time?
That's it. And I'm tired of that. Like I said, I'm tired of trying to make an excuse. It is what it is. We seen it. Y'all see what worked. Do it. Period. Right. I'm tired of trying to talk about how ways that we can make stuff better when they know what can make it better, but they choose not to do it. Because to me, that tells me that they don't care. If we can sit here and talk for 2 hours about, we looked at the tape, we sit here, watch the games, and they telling us they spending hours on end, week in and week out, working on looking at tape and seeing what works. And then every week I'm seeing the same crap. At this point, like I told y'all, and I know y'all tired of me saying, I'm tired. I keep looking at this and I'm just looking at it like, this is foolish. That's what I'm looking at. I told Kay, and like Kay said, I was sitting there after our show, the heavy hitter show, for like 2 hours. They were trying to talk me off the ledge, and I was sitting there like, nah, this is foolishness. This is foolishness. It ain't got nothing to do with none of this, but they're not doing the right things. We keep blaming Desmond Ridder. We keep blaming players. We keep blaming this one and that one. And then I'm looking at the coach like he's skating by like everything is gravy. And I'm looking at, bro, you the problem. You're the problem.
And look, you could just sum that up in one sentence. What the hell do you want to be?
I said that earlier, man. He's gonna have to come up. He's got to come up with a concept, and he's gonna have to stick to it.
Right.
Man, listen. When after that Jacksonville game, I said this team don't got an identity, and now people are just starting to catch on to it. I said it on Wolves after the Jacksonville game. This team don't got an identity with how they're playing. We've been doing the same thing all season. For most of the season, we've been doing the same exact thing. We'll come out in the first half and just throughout the game. We get in the red zone, boneheaded play calling. It doesn't make sense. And you're supposed to be a running football team, but you don't have an identity at this point. The 2023 Atlanta Falcons do not know what they want to do on offense.
Hey, I got hey, Jew. Let me put a number out here for you right quick, just to tell you what Rule was talking about.
Go ahead.
Last year, let me ask all y'all: do y'all know what the run pass percentages was of this team?
No, but I'm willing to probably make a guess. I'm willing to probably say about 65-35.
Well, this year they're 47 run, 52 pass. Last year there was 56 run, 44 pass.
Right.
So we passing more than we running. Is that what you're telling me?
Yeah.
All right.
But like you said, that just goes back to what you said about having too many ingredients for the gumbo.
Yeah. Too many groceries. You said that you needed players. Now you got players. Now you got too many players. And this is why we said what we said. Like I said, Kay, people think we just be talking and be talking. We said this before we got Bijan Robinson. We said we do not need Bijan Robinson. I kept saying over and over again. I love his skill set. I told him I love him as a player, just like Lamar Jackson. I love Lamar Jackson. But we just told him we didn't need it. It was like Calvin. You said it earlier in the chat, Kay. We didn't need Calvin Ridley. What happened after we got Calvin Ridley? It got worse. Let's just be real, because we neglected other positional needs. It's the same thing this year. We could have did a lot with that pick. No disrespect to Bijan. Bijan's a great player, but we brought him here, and we really don't have the space for him. We don't have the touches to give him, because you got Kyle Pitts, London, and then Bijan. So you got three guys that could be a focal point of your offense, but now this is part of creating that identity crisis, because now you don't know what you want to do, because you got these three guys. You got the media pressure of saying, why don't you get these three guys if you're not going to use them? So now you created this big old problem for yourself. And now, as he said earlier, Arthur Smith then painted himself into a corner, and now he got to figure out how to make it work. But they did it today.
Going back to that Calvin Ridley comment. Calvin Ridley, I loved him. He was a great player, but when Arthur Smith came here to see Dan Quinn and that system, Dirt Cutter, that was because Calvin Ridley is a flash wide receiver. But when Arthur Smith came in here, told him, listen, you're going to come in, you're going to block, you're going to have to take some hits. He's like, no. And then he played a couple games and he checked out, because this wasn't for him. That we were running this team now. It wasn't the old way where it's just going to be a lot of flash. It's going to be very ugly at times, and Calvin Ridley wasn't for it. And he quit. He did not have the mindset. Now, I think where it differs with Bijan gives off the fact that, see, when I look at Bijan Robinson, he's a very talented human being, even more than he is a player. But with Calvin Ridley, he's special all around.
He's special, man. He's a special athlete. At the end of the day, he's a special player. Bijan is special, but I feel like he's even been placed in an uncomfortable position where he shouldn't have been even put in this situation. But now he's in the situation, so we got to make the best of it. And that's why I said I'm done with the excuses. I don't care what they got to do to get them all on the field. That's their problem. That ain't my problem. I'm the fan. I'm just come to watch and eat popcorn and sit back and say, get it done. That's all we got to do. We spend our hard-earned money. We got people going to the games. I buy all the hats and jerseys and all this extra stuff. So as the organization, their job is to go out there and put on a show and put the players in positions to succeed. It ain't our jobs. We spend all this time, I'm making content and talking about it, and We doing all this spinning our wheels, as Kev talked about. But what are y'all gonna do after we done told y'all what y'all should be doing? What are y'all gonna do to make it right? It ain't it ain't our job to figure it out. It's their job to figure it out. But it's, to me, it ain't that hard that they making it, and that's why I say everybody has got a microscope on their back now. I'm looking at every single person that's on that coaching staff. I'm done looking at the players. I'm putting this on the coaches. I don't want to hear nothing else about Desmond Ridder. I want to hear nothing else about Taylor Heineke. I could care less who back there. It could be me. I don't care who back there. It's coming down to Arthur Smith. This your team. I want to hear him take accountability, because that's why I got upset in the first place with the benching, is because to me it felt like I'm looking myself in the mirror. It's he the problem, or this is the problem, instead of saying, you know what, I'm not calling the right plays, or I'm not. If you're the leader, you need to come out and take responsibility. Your team ain't performing, but that falls back on you. You the coach. It falls back on you, and you supposed to be the offensive coach. That's what I talked about in my video. Is if you're an offensive minded coach and our offense is struggling, that should tell me a whole lot about the team. This is your side of the ball that you're supposed to be good at. I got hired because I'm an offensive minded coach, and I can develop and I can run this type of scheme and put guys in positions to succeed. Where I'm looking to see that. Period. I don't want to hear no more excuses. Like I keep telling you, I'm tired of that. I'm tired of keep having to make excuses and trying to find a reason. The reason is we not performing. And if I'm Arthur Blank and I didn't pay this hard on money, we didn't put out hundreds of millions of dollars, it's time for y'all to make moves, period. When we not being successful, guess who losing money? Arthur Blank losing money when people ain't at that stadium. And trust me, if I'm tired, I know he tired of it. I'm gonna tell you right now, he tired. He want to win. Yeah, and look, he older and tired. Cause look, I'm good and young. Yeah. He's up there. He like, before I, you know what I'm saying? Before I go home to speak the Lord, I want to see a win. I want to see it. He want to hold a trophy, and nobody deserves a trophy more than Arthur Blank. That dude poured his hard-earned money into this team. That dude and built a whole new stadium. He did everything he can do. So I know if I'm having this conversation, he done had this conversation numerous times with the coaches and everybody else. He probably breaking stuff in the office. I'm trust me, he pissed.
Oh, everybody's looking for that sermon right now. I'm sick and tired of being sick and tired of being sick and tired.
Hey, Jude,
what's up, man?
But being, I know you kind of saying you out of character right now for the people, but you got to remember now, when the guys was up in the church, cutting up in the church, Jesus turned the church out. He physically kicked them out.
Hey, Jesus turned over the table, and that's why I told y'all seen Jude and Juby backstage with Mad Mike and all of them. They was talking for me for 2 hours trying to talk me off the ledge, and I told them I'm tired of it. I told him y'all see
look. Let me say something to you.
Go ahead, Mike.
Let me interrupt right quick, because this goes back to what I was saying earlier. The thing is everybody had a right to be upset, but we keep forgetting the key ingredient here. The key ingredient is everybody is prisoner to their expectations. This is where the media is at prime fault, and whether we want to admit it or not, we a result. What our frustration is a result of what they try to paint the picture of us. They painted the picture that Bijan is the greatest prospect since Marshall Faulk. They put out that Kyle Pitts is the greatest prospect since Tony Gonzalez. They painted all this stuff. Not once have we heard anybody say that Arthur Smith was a guru. I don't remember anybody saying that. But since he got all these weapons, we want to say, all right, be a guru.
Nah, I don't even care about
this is the problem. We got to be real with ourselves about what we're really upset with is the expectations that weren't real. These expectations were never real to begin with. None of this was on. Look, Who thought that Kyle Pitts was gonna come in here and have 1,500 yards? Who thought that he was gonna come in here and have 2,000 all-purpose yards? Bijan Robinson. These are the expectations that we see and that we have for our team because we believe in our team. But you got to come to the realization that this team is flawed. It's flawed. Nobody wants to come to the realization that Tyler Allgeier has not been consistent. Nobody wants to come to the realization that Bijan is a rookie. He's a freaking rookie. Arthur is younger. Look, young. This dude is literally a year and a half younger than I am. Just think about that for a second. And we're holding this dude to a such a level that no coach in the league has to deal with the talent that they have on offense. No team. You can even go look at what's happening right now in San Francisco. What's happening in San Francisco? They had the same complex. You look at Buffalo Bills. This is Brett Coleman just put out a video early today saying the Buffalo Bills have one of the most offense as far as yards are concerned. They top 10, top 5 in every category. But guess what they can't do, Drew?
I'm listening.
Drew been talking. Look, Drew been talking hard today. Come on, Drew. What are they having trouble doing?
Hey,
scoring consistently, right?
Hey,
you see where I'm going?
Nah, I see. The thing with Josh Allen has been he's always been a turnover.
See this.
Hold on, Mike. I hear where you're coming from. I hear exactly where you're coming from, and I agree with you. But I feel like it's not unrealistic expectations for this team to make the playoffs. That ain't unrealistic. Winning the Super Bowl
again, dude. We're up. That's not off the table. Look, that's not off the table. We're upset for something because we had our own personal feelings behind this. It's not dead. It's not gone.
All I gotta say,
as a man of faith, what do we talk? What do we talk, Jew?
No, I agree where you're coming from, and I still believe in this team. Don't get me wrong, I still believe in this team. But my issue is this: we're losing games we shouldn't be losing. We had no business.
They losing games because they're young, bro.
No, I get where you're coming from with the young, even with the players being young. I get that. But who I'm not giving no more leash to is Arthur Smith. Because I'm tired
this is where see this is what we be talking about behind the scenes. We don't always agree. This is what we say when I talk about we are prisoner to our own expectations. We're
like
prisoner to our own. We put him on that pedestal. Arthur has to earn that.
Right. Well, I didn't put him on no pedestal.
No, I'm saying we got a lot of people out here calling him a guru that he should just figure it out and all this type of stuff. Not you. I'm saying I've been getting a lot of comments saying, all right, not Jew, but he needs to figure it out. Everybody call him a guru. He need to figure it out. I don't know. I don't understand what the issue. Look, if you haven't been in charge of a whole crew of people with different personalities and all those guys are hungry, all those guys want to eat, everybody wants CP. Look, he calling for the ball, like you said. Now he got to figure out, look, man, CP calling for the ball, KP calling for the ball, Bijan, Tyler, Allgeier, all these guys calling for the ball. What is he supposed to do in that aspect right there?
But that's why it goes back to what I was saying. You got to go back to what your roots are. What he got to go back to is you the head man. He makes that decision, and that is a hard decision. But guess what?
That's where everybody's wrong. That's where everybody's wrong.
What I'm saying is, as the head coach, he makes that final call. I understand what you're saying. I'm stating that all of these issues we talking about, Arthur Smith is on the line for it. We don't, like you always say, we don't matter. My feelings, me being tired, Arthur Smith could care less about how I feel. But what I'm stating is I'm putting everything at his feet, both him and the whole coaching staff, because I'm done with putting this on the players, because I feel like these coaches are not putting them in positions to succeed.
See, that's my problem.
No.
That's
But
that where my problem lies right there.
There've been times where they've made mistakes. Like he can't help Bijan getting the ball punched out. That ain't got nothing to do with him. Bijan was breaking a long run and got the ball punched out. That's on him. But what is on him? You get in the 1 yard line. That's on you when you call a jet sweep for your tight end. Is that on him or is that not?
Again, that's see this is my thing is, man, I've been a player, man. I've been a player. That's where I can't put this on a coach because I've been in that position where I should have hit that shot. I've been in that position where I should have thrown this ball. I should have not fumbled the ball. I should have not done this. I've been in that. Look, one thing I tell you about Kobe and Jordan and LeBron and all these greats, they don't look at the coach and say Steve Kerr called the wrong thing. The first thing they're going to look at themselves and say, God damn it, I should have hit that. I practiced this shit 1,000 times. Why I didn't hit that? See, that's where that for me, I guess that's where my frustration lies. It's because everybody wanted to just say, all right, the coach. Yeah, the coach, all he can do is design the play. But it still comes down to execution. And nobody tell Dalman to fumble the ball on his ass. Nobody tell him to fumble. Nobody told Bijan to look. Nobody told CP to sit there and not say nothing. It's been 8 weeks and CP ain't said a dang on thing about getting in that game. Show your ass if you want that ball. This is where the alpha males got to come up. There's no, and this is something that we were talking about, Jude. I want to have a conversation because ain't no alpha male on this offense. It's one, and that's CP. He the only one that's coming out saying, I want this damn ball. He the only one that had the guts to sit up here and say, I want it. You don't hear Kyle Pitts. He's sitting there like a quiet little church mouse. You got Bijan looking stupid on the sidelines. And Tyler Algier look like he just don't want to do nothing but run into a wall.
I completely agree with you, bro. And that's why I keep pointing back to Arthur Smith because I haven't heard anybody say that. I haven't heard anybody come out in their press conference and say that was the wrong play call. I see them trying to execute these plays. Who's saying it's the wrong play call is me. I'm saying you don't do no jet sweep in that situation. You do what you do. Like how we always say, run the dang ball. If that's what you do, that's what you do. Like it ain't about, because you've heard us just say earlier, I don't care if you run it straight 4 straight times. If that's your best play, what I'm tired of seeing is you run a jet sweep when I know that ain't your best play on that particular play. That's my issue. You get to the 1 yard line just to do a jet sweep. Man. Come on, that ain't. If it's the Chiefs, that's one thing. The Chiefs.
I just have a major problem with players when players don't execute. Man, I just have my brain just won't allow me to say that's on the coach. Maybe that's that's my major issue when it comes down. I just like when a hole is right there in front of you, you should see that hole. I don't give a damn if it's a damn. I don't give a damn if it's a punt return.
I got a question for you, Mad Mike. Which play do you think they practice more? That jet sweep or those run plays that we were looking for? That we were told that we were going to do.
See, the thing is with the Falcons, they practice all those things. They put equal times on offense. The Falcons ran the most, and this is the misconception. This is why I say people got to do their homework about everything, because the Falcons led the league last year in outside zone running plays, not inside. Everybody think everything is what you see with Bijan. This is why they brought Bijan in, because he's the guy that's going to get those big time plays on the outside. And this is go back to what Jew was saying about Tyler Algier and CP. Them guys need to be in more, and K-Star kind of said it too, as far as setting the tone in the middle of the defense. But the Falcons led the entire league over San Francisco in outside zone running plays and yards. Tyler Algier was right among them and the leader as far as this Falcon team and outside zone running plays. So this is what they do. The thing is, this year is they're not executing. Nothing has changed. These numbers are out here for everybody to see. Everybody think the Falcons are a team. Everybody think the Falcons are a team that runs up the middle, and it's just not true. And this is probably what's wrong. with the offense, they don't run the ball up the middle. And this is something that you saying about the fullback. Sometimes you got to put that fullback in there and bust somebody in the mouth and run up and open up the outside zone running. So the Falcons have always done this. They have not. This is why I keep telling people they have not changed a thing. They're doing everything that they did last year. The thing is that they're just not executing.
Actually, I Mike, I'm gonna have to disagree with you on that. There's one thing they are doing different from last year, and that's not using the quarterback as a weapon on the offense itself.
That one.
That's the biggest difference between last year and this year. And that's
I'm speaking more so of the running game itself. The running game, they use the running, and that's where Kill brought up the RPO, and I almost scratched my own eyeballs out him saying that because he knows how much I hate the RPO for the single fact it just dumbs the quarterback down. That's the only reason why I say that. But they are not using the quarterback in the run game as much as it, and maybe, and I'm thinking, and the more that I do the research, I think that's the reason why he benched Desmond Ridder, because I know Ridder can run, but he doesn't have that runner's mentality.
But the thing is, it's not even about having the runner's mentality.
He's not a threat. That's what I'm saying. The defense they don't even care about Desmond Ridder even thinking about running.
Because we know Ridder thrives in the pocket. He is a pocket passer. That's where he's most comfortable at. When they got him outside of the pocket, that's where he really got rattled.
So yeah, you're right, Kill. Yeah, that like I said, the outside running games for the Falcons. I think where the Falcons have to do, they just gotta look. I like what they're doing. I wouldn't change anything. I wouldn't change anything.
I'm gonna say this as we get ready to wrap up. I appreciate
y'all got you on. See, Arthur Smith got you up here so mad. He done went in 3 hours. What the hell, y'all?
Hey, look.
I gotta be the voice of reason to calm Jew down. Like, look, I'm like, Jew was heated, bro.
No, I'm still heated. I'm gonna say it like this. I'm gonna say it like this. I'm standing 10 toes down. Arthur Smith, I'm watching you with a microscope, my brother. The target is on your back. As I get ready to close, I still believe in this team. Like I keep telling you guys, I still have hope. I'm tired. I said this about 100 times in this show, and all I want them to do is like what Kay said, by any means necessary. There's no more excuses. I don't want to hear nothing. All I want to see is wins. And I'm not saying he can't lose another game, because I'm not being unrealistic. But these games that we supposed to win, I don't care what happened in the game tomorrow. We better get it done, because I'm tired of. I'm trying to find a reason. It ain't no reason. The reason is the coaching. The reason ain't the players. We want to keep pointing. Well, it's Desmond Ridder. Well, it's that one. No, it's you, because I've seen 2 different.
Dude, I'm gonna have to disagree with you, because when I see a motherfucker fumble the damn ball when we got a chance to go up, that churns and burns my gears.
We're gonna have to.
Hey man, but I think it's more.
It's just a comment. I think everybody damn right. This like I'm just everybody freaking right. I really just at this point, because there's not one person on this team who doesn't have blame in this. Arthur calling questionable things. We got players jumping off sides. We got guys like Richie Grant missing assignment. And then you got guys fumbling. You got a center. The defense, they giving up plays and keys. I think this is probably the first time in quite some time that I can honestly say I think everybody is right when it comes down to where this Falcon team is right now. Everybody's at fault, man. Mm-hmm. But like you said, everybody not gonna get the blame. It's gonna be Arthur. Arthur gonna get the blame because he's the head coach.
There we go. I don't want to hear nothing else. It's on Arthur, because I hear what everybody's saying. I respect everybody. You might know I respect everybody. Everybody's entitled to their own opinion. But what I'm saying is, when Dan Quinn was here, we held his butt to the fire. That man took us to the Super Bowl. When he was all said and done, we treated that man like he was nothing. We were like, you lost. We held his butt to the fire. I'm doing Arthur Smith the same way. I'm not handling you with kid gloves. I understand everybody making mistakes, but you making mistakes as well. And I'm looking at you as the head man to get it right. You got hired to do this job. I'm looking at you. I'm done with looking at these players and saying, oh, it's them. They're fumbling and everything. It's like what they say. It's either being coached or you allowing it. It's one of the two. If Bijan butt fumble, put his butt on the bench and put somebody else in there who can hold on to the ball. I don't want to hear, oh, well, this one and that one's not doing this, and this one and that one's not doing that, because he's the head. So when you step up to that podium, I don't want to hear nothing else about another player. I want to hear, I didn't get it done. Period. Because you the leader. Everybody looking at you. Just like the quarterback. The quarterback can't come to the podium and say, Taylor Heineke couldn't come to the podium and say, Jefferson dropped that last pass. They can't do that. When you the leader, and Mike know this, he was been a leader. You play quarter. They put it on you. They don't put it on just like Matt Ryan. We used to always say, don't put it just on Matt Ryan. Everybody came from Matt Ryan because he was the franchise guy. It's the same thing in this situation. Arthur Smith, you are the leader. I don't want to hear nothing about nobody else. You the leader. That's all I'm saying. I'm not saying that Arthur Smith is totally his fault, because we know everybody has a job to do. But at the end of the day, who job gonna be on the line if the job don't get done? Trust me, every player on this team ain't gonna get fired. Bijan gonna be on this team long after Arthur Smith. A lot of these guys that just got picked up gonna be on this team. So the one who I'm looking at is Arthur Smith, because he's making the decisions. And if he's not the one making the decisions, whoever pulling the trigger on these decisions, guess what? They butt should be being held to the fire, because I feel
that's
my
what
issue.
you need.
That's why I said I want to know
exactly. That's exactly what we're gonna talk about after.
But the only thing that I want to say about it is I don't have a problem with a coach making calls. I had a problem with the people that he was putting the ball in their hands at the opportune times when we needed to have the ones all reliables. I'm gonna put it like that. We needed the all reliable to seal this game, and we didn't do that. I don't have a problem with the tight end running a sweep. You got the stats saying that we run the little outside runs or whatever, but I just don't think that Jonnu Smith should have been the one running the ball, because one, he's not a running back, so he's not that good at running in tight and getting in the hole. I would have rather seen CP run that play. I'm just being honest. It ain't got nothing to do with none of that other stuff. I just think that Coach Smith put the ball at times in the wrong hands. That's just my opinion.
With that being said, I'm gonna let Kay get the last word, and then I'm gonna hop off here, man, because we've been on for like 2 hours and 30 minutes. But like I said, man, I appreciate everybody that's jumped in here, man, in the chat. I appreciate everybody. Like I said, I respect everybody's how they feel. Everybody's entitled to their own opinion. Like I said, I'm standing 10 toes down on what I said. I ain't backing off of what I said. But with that being said, Kay, go ahead and say what you got to say, man.
And to put it in simple terms of what Jew was saying, Atlanta Falcons, we on your ass this week. Get it done.
Definitely.
That's it. With that being said, that's the closing words. I appreciate, like I said, each and every one of you guys. I'll see y'all next Saturday. Well, we'll see y'all tomorrow after the game, but it'll be a 4 o'clock game. We'll see y'all later tomorrow night, but hopefully it's after Atlanta Falcons win. Like I said, the cup is still half full, but guess what? By any means, get it done. With that being said, I'll holler at y'all in the next video, in the next show. As always, Falcons Nation, rise up.
Rise up.
Peace. We are the nation of domination.
What the hell?
All right.